and poured in countless hours of hard work to make this shoot come to life. The amount of steps each room takes is mind-blowing, but it's all worth it when you see the look on these drivers' faces.
Oh man, oh man.
Last one.
We're having a lot of fun. Next room right here looks cool. Gonna do some more interviews. Get back to you later.
Look who I ran into here at the Fox shoot. I don't even know where to look.
Check out, the Monster Girls are hanging out too.
Over a span of 3 days, our team of over 60 people converts an empty airplane hangar into 6 unique sets with over 1,500 linear feet of truss, 14,000 linear feet of cable, and 13,000 square feet of drape. We have 15 cameras and over 200 light fixtures, all run by over 70,000 watts of power. Through the years, the technology and drivers have changed. Well, some of them haven't, but one thing remains constant. We make these dudes look really good. Even this dude.
He's always cool, whether he's Jaws or DW or so you enjoyed
with my new haircut. I'm Mr. Walter.
That's right. And we thank the drivers for hanging at the hangar shoot. It's something you had to go through. You had a lot of fun doing that.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's fire and lights and I mean,
props.
Yeah, I mean, Fox is a great partner to NASCAR and the teams for making them look so good on race day.
The one I liked. Remember that time we rode around that Lincoln convertible?
Oh yeah, that was old. We drove to the Steak and Shake.
Yeah, we went down to the Steak and Shake Center and played rock and roll music.
It was a good. But Darrell said, I don't have a lot of time for this. He went to the hangar. He was there all day for like 6 hours. They couldn't get rid of him when they shut it down. All right, we're counting you down to the start of the Can-Am Duel. The first 2 races. 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson. You'll see him in the second one. The first one also featuring our current champ, and we're going to hear from Martin Truex coming up straight ahead on the pre-race presented by Toyota. And we're back live here as drivers are introduced at Daytona International Speedway. There's your champ from 2015, looking for his first ever Daytona 500.
Game face on.
I think he's listening to our show. Is that probably is? He's saying hi to everybody and tuning in. Ryan Blaney, part of the Ford group.
Leonard Wood. I love Leonard Wood. He's my hero.
Man, I love the moves this kid makes on restrictor plate race. He is aggressive.
He may have made one too many in the clash the other day.
His
a little early.
His teammate made that move on him.
And Jamie McMurray in the 1 car.
See one thing, he'll put on a show. This guy will. He loves restrictor plate racing.
What a dramatic Daytona 500 in 2010. Kyle Larson.
Woo, Kyle Larson had his hands full in the clash. I'm curious to see how well his car's handling.
It looks like he was on the apron. I mean, he basically spun the thing out, went down on the apron, saved it, got back on track.
Incredible save.
Yeah, he said that final lap crash, he was upset about it.
Last year's Daytona 500 winner.
Yes, sir.
That little crew chief change for him.
Got a new crew chief this year, yeah.
Billy Scott.
See how that works for him.
Wife Ashley.
The old man's back at home.
And there's the only driver who has multiple wins in the Daytona 500 who we will see on Sunday, Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson. And you can't base anything off the clash. It has not been a good race for him. But, boy, when it comes to Daytona 500, not the last couple years, but never count out 7 times.
27 drivers have won this race 1 time, and only 3 drivers have ever won it 3 times. And Cale won it 4, and Richard Petty won it 7.
Martin Truex Jr. going to win for the first time. Time for our Toyota team update. He's, of course, the defending NASCAR champion. And Martin Truex in the Toyota Camry 78. He went into last season. He had just 7 career wins. Since then, he's more than doubled that. Plus, he added his first championship, the 2017 Top Teams home office, located in Denver, a little away from all the others in Charlotte. That's where we sent Regan Smith, who, when he was not driving, became a broadcaster and went out there to talk to them. And by the way, Regan won the first ever victory for Furniture Row Racing.
Yes, sir.
From the start of the year, it was clear. Right from Atlanta on, did you know as soon as you started that year that this is our year? We're going to get this done?
I honestly did. I don't think any of us ever really thought about that till later in the year. We just stayed focused on what we were doing and tried to do the best we could every week. Getting the win early in the season at Vegas, first time we'd won a race early in the year, that was a good confidence booster. It was a lot of momentum for us. We knew we could just focus on the stage points and winning races from there on out. I don't know that we ever said we can win this championship till the playoffs started, and we kind of started going through all that. Just playoffs, man, it's like, it's so unpredictable, and the feelings you get, you're like, every time that you reset and you go to round one, you're like, we got to win. We won't have to worry about 2 weeks from now. We'd go out and we'd be aggressive, and we're like, we got to win this. Worked out okay, I guess.
I think it worked out better than okay.
Now he goes into 2018 with a championship under his belt and a bullseye on his back.
What do you do to follow it up? You guys, you got the 8 wins last year. I've been on the record saying I think this team can win more.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely felt like we could have won more races last year, but, I think everybody has that situation. It's so hard to close these things out. To be in position to win that many races is a feat in itself and a hell of an accomplishment. So, I mean, if we could just back that up, if we can go out and lead laps and put ourselves in position to win 5 to 10 races, we're going to be in that hunt and in that championship battle where we want to be.
I'd be scared if I was a competition right now with you guys. So, man, I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Good
awesome
job, man.
year.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm looking forward to watching it again this year.
Appreciate it.
And we're looking forward Sunday, Daytona 500, the pre-race show over on Fox. We're going to hear more from Truex, Barney Visser, car owner, crew chief Cole Pearn, with Regan, who went out there and talked to them about their emotional ride to success and how they plan to do in the 500 and this season at age 37. Martin Truex Jr. enjoying success.
He certainly is. He's been known as a great driver for a long time, but finally all the pieces put together between Cole Pearn, Furniture Row Racing, Barney Visser, and this is just the beginning, I believe.
Yeah, they have a fast car. Every week they had a fast car. That's how they got all those stage points. But every driver, whether it's Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals, whether it's Richard Petty and Dale Inman, whomever the driver is, the crew chief is the difference maker.
Yeah, and, he had, that's 2 years ago, a near win at the Daytona 500. And I remember talking about how long he was finishing second place at races. He's finally come through as the champ. We'll see if Sunday he can accomplish something else. Earlier this month, he's happy about this. Truex's longtime girlfriend, Sherry Pollux, rang the bell in the doctor's office. That's a symbol that she had completed 6 months of chemo after the recurrence of the ovarian cancer she's been working through. She's been here at Daytona to support him, and she's shown amazing courage in the battle with cancer, currently doing well, and we're happy about that.
A lot of positive things happening for those two, and I really believe that strength and courage that she had going through her treatments really had an impact on how Martin and that team fought every weekend to get their team in victory lane.
She's taken something bad and turned it into something good. The charity work they do, helping children, she is a really, really great gal and does a lot of really good charity work based on the fact that what she's been dealing with.
Yeah, I know, Martin had said, when he had been struggling through the sport, she was there to support him. Obviously, a much more difficult thing, but he had to be there to support her. Before we let you guys go, to head up to the booth to join Mike and call the first of the 2 dual races tonight. How about the Fords? Do you think they might be ganging up on some people out here?
Well, so Duel 1, you've got those Hendrick Chevys up front, but you've got about 7 Fords back there, including Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, who showed a lot of strength all of last year in restrictor plate trucks. I think they're going to be tough. Duel 2, I think you've got the Toyotas up front, and you've got some Chevys and Fords scattered throughout there. I think the Toyotas might be pretty tough in that second one.
Tonight's rehearsal. If that's what you're going to do, let's work on it tonight, and so we got it ironed out by Sunday. Everything about tonight is about getting ready for Sunday. And if that's the way you're going to race Sunday, then tonight's a good time to practice and get our act together so we know what we got.
Yeah, we know Alex Bowman's on the pole. We haven't had a pole winner win the Daytona 500 since Dale Jarrett. It's been 18 years, but help us out tonight if we're looking at it. It seems like you're leaning towards Keselowski maybe in one of the duels. Give me a dual winner in each one of these.
Yeah, I think Keselowski, right now, everybody's already said it. He's one of the best, including himself. He's one of the best restrictor plate drivers. Race 2, even though he's sort of a lone Chevrolet, I like Chase Elliott. I like the way he's looked on restrictor plate tracks the last few times in some races.
Eric Jones. Keep an eye on Eric Jones. Young guy, new team, 20 car. That thing has been fast. Watch Eric Jones. And then I'm going with Jimmy Johnson. He will win his qualifying race, I do believe.
All right, he's just happy to be out of the clash, right? Enough with that. That has different meaning for him. All right, Darrell and Jeff heading up to the broadcast booth. They'll be calling the dual races, 20 cars in each. And Michael Waltrip, the grid walk is coming up. Oh, there's Michael. Nice haircut, Michael. Can't wait to hear from you. Saturday over on Fox, college basketball. You'll see some of the best. Second-ranked Michigan State against Northwestern. And then a top-5 matchup, Jay Wright and the Villanova Wildcats at number 3 against Xavier. Begins at 2 o'clock Eastern on Fox. Always streaming live on Fox Sports Go. We're live at Daytona Beach, Florida, getting ready for the first of 2 races. 60 laps each with 20 drivers, 2.5 miles around this track. And Michael is all over the track. So let's head down to the grid walk and Michael Waltrip.
Yeah, last year, Chris, I was definitely all over the track. I had a steering wheel in my hand. This year, I've traded it for a mic. I'm Mikey Mike. And the first person that I wanted to talk to, because the 2018 season is going to be so awesome. Can you believe, Bubba, that you're in the iconic 43 car, Richard Petty's ride for the Daytona 500? How's that feel?
Feels awesome. I'm trying to be as excited as you are.
Well, I love racing.
I know, so
you
do
need to be, you got to be a little calm,
right? I mean, calm. Like that.
It even has STP on it.
It's awesome. That's old school. Old school mixed with a new school. That's me all day long. I'm excited about it.
Have you played your drums today to get a little anxiety out?
A little bit. I have, always.
Love it. Love it. Have fun tonight. And then right over here is Jamie McMurray. Hey, Jamie, I'm your neighbor in the motorhome lot, and my domestic skills are a little bit challenged. You mind if I swing by in the morning and maybe have a little breakfast with you and the family?
I don't know. Well, my family's not here, but we can always go to McDonald's. There's one right down the street, and that would be, I think that'd be the best plan.
Do you have coupons?
I have coupons.
Okay. All right. That's a deal, buddy. Ryan Newman has got a new car, a new paint job. Ryan, you look good in green, buddy.
Thank you. Bass Pro Cabela Chevrolet.
I love that. Hi, Richard. Hi, Johnny.
How you doing, buddy?
Appreciate the Daytona 500, all you do for the sport.
Thank you, man. Let's roll.
Love that. All right. Remember last week, what did Brad Keselowski do? Brad Keselowski predicted that he would win the Clash. What did he do? He goes out and wins the Clash. Brad, we're live on national TV, as Kenny Wallace would say. Do you have a prediction for tonight?
Yeah, I think the strategy is going to mix the field up. We're going to see a couple cars that are really trimmed for qualifying, be out of control, and hopefully we're going to work our way to the front, bring home another one.
Well, it was impressive what you did in the Clash. This is a big step toward the Daytona 500. Good luck tonight.
Much, Michael.
Chris, take it away from Mike down here on the grid.
All right, thank you, Michael. The Can-Am Duel races. What an overview. Race day presented by Toyota. A good look from afar and up close. The kids are taken to the track, just like all of us. There's a grid walk, and they put him to sleep. Michael put him to sleep. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, more driven. And these drivers rely on Goodyear tires as they race fast and furiously. Joey Logano, he won the Clash last year, second this year, 3 years ago on the Daytona 500. He's excited about tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Patrick Air Force Base Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Edison Goncalves, Senior Chaplain at Florida Hospital Flagler, offers our invocation.
Almighty God, thank you for bringing us here together today. Heavenly Father, I ask that you will be with each person that was involved in the tragedy yesterday here in one of our schools in Florida. Heavenly Father, bring hope, bring comfort, and bring your sense of your presence to each one of us grieving. Father God, I pray that you will protect each driver and each team member in this race tonight. Thank you for hearing my prayer. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome Daytona Beach native Melissa Tenbrook.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Well done. 60 laps, 150 miles, and 2 races live here on FS1 from Daytona. Be with us as we fill out the starting position for Sunday's Great American Race. I want to read this. Race fans, those of you watching us here, Kroger, Clicklist, and Tide are giving away $1 million to a lucky fan should A.J. Allmendinger or Chris Buescher win the Daytona 500. That's on Fox next Sunday. Enter to win by posting with hashtag WinWithQuickList and hashtag TideOxyClean, OXI-clean on social media. For a complete set of the rules and prizes, fans visit jtgdohertyracing.com. Pole sitter, we saw moments ago, there Alex Bowman in the 88 car. Michael Waltrip back from the grid where he is ready to roll off the grid.
I think there's some nerves in that camp, Chris. These cars are set up for qualifying. A lot of them don't think they're going to be handling well tonight when the green flag falls. It's going to be an interesting race to watch to see how the strategies play out.
That's Eric Almirola, who, when I saw him over at the hangar shoot, he was saying, you know, after that injury last year, it forced me through the rehab recovery to take a healthier approach. He said, I feel better than I ever have, even before the injury.
Yeah, these drivers today, Chris, are so fit. They work out, they ride bikes, they're in the gym constantly. They are ready to do battle. When you get in that race car like Daniel Suarez is there, you want to make sure your team knows you're committed, that you have every tool it takes to win the race.
Suarez, the only Toyota in the first of the 20 cars in the first dual race. And there's our defending Daytona 500 champ, starting 9th in the 20 cars.
And how fun he's been this year. He's looking so forward to defending this championship and winning him another Daytona 500. You can feel the confidence in Kurt Busch.
One of 8 drivers that you'll see in the Daytona 500 on Sunday that have won the Daytona 500. And Jimmy's the only one who's won multiple Daytona 500s, and he starts the year going for his 8th Cup championship.
And he was very fast in the clash on Sunday. He's got a good handling car. It'll be fun to watch tonight.
I thought it was interesting, Brad Keselowski telling you moments ago who predicted he would win right in the clash. Didn't want to predict here, and there's probably a reason for that, even though he's confident for the 500.
I couldn't find anybody on pit road down there that was confident about how their cars are going to drive. There's a lot of questions tonight.
He said the strategy is going to mix things up in each of the races tonight, so let's get out of the words we want to hear.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome our Grand Marshal, Global Marketing Director of Can-Am Off-Road, Olivier Camus.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the last few duels have been rather tame when they have been run. I think if you had a choice, you might want to be in that second one, and you have certainly experienced that. So let's head up to the booth. Jeff and Daryl joining Mike Joy, the guys who will take you through the evening. Mike?
Thanks, Chris, and hi, everybody. Well, 2 150-mile races that will set the starting lineup for Sunday. Starting position is important, but so too is how your car is going to work against 19 others in these 150-mile dual races. So dress rehearsal or big night to shine?
No, I think it's dress rehearsal. There are so many things these teams are working on right now. The no ride height, the pit crews are different. The cars are driving a little bit rough right now, and the guys want to smooth that out. So there's a lot going on tonight that will affect what happens here on Sunday afternoon, I think.
But there is a lot at stake, and principally it's the starting position for the greatest race, biggest race of the season, the Daytona 500. And so many unknowns, Jeff, because it's the first time we've run the Duel where the teams haven't been able to touch the cars since Sunday qualifying.
It's incredible how little practice they've had, and even when they had practice, they were getting ready for qualifying. So many unknowns, especially for these young drivers that are in the field that have very little experience. I think of William Byron. He has no idea. Alex Bowman's not new to the sport, but he's certainly a young driver up there on the pole, and I think that he has no idea how good his car is going to be when they drop this green flag. It's going to be pretty exciting to watch.
Well, we're about to find out. Now, Sunday night, there was a call on Ricky Stenhouse in the number 17. You're not allowed to advance your position by going below the double yellow line. He did. There is an exception if you are forced below the yellow line, however.
Yeah, I really believe that, he had an opportunity to back off and not go below the yellow line. He forced the issue. That was very consistent with the way that NASCAR has called this in the past.
Getting ready for two races that will set the field for Sunday's Daytona 500. It's the Can-Am Duel, live on FS1.
Rise up for the revolution. Rise up and unite.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys. These guys are the best in the world. Get the heck out of my way. Goodness gracious. Crazy, wild, white knuckle. Holy smoly.
I love this race.
Hang on, son. Gonna be some battles. You can guarantee you that.
Always exciting, often unpredictable. The Can-Am Duel at Daytona. Here on FS1 to set the 500 field. The odd-numbered qualifiers from Sunday are in Duel 1. That means pole sitter Alex Bowman, number 3 qualifier Jimmy Johnson. They'll start this race from the front row. In Chevrolets, a third Hendrick Chevrolet with them is William Byron. The only Toyota, Daniel Suarez for Joe Gibbs Racing. And then it's a whole bunch of Fords. Ricky Stenhouse for Jack Roush, Joey Logano for Roger Penske, Eric Almirola for Stuart Haas, Ryan Blaney, new to Team Penske this year. Kurt Busch, the defending 500 winner. Brad Keselowski, who won here Sunday in the Clash. Then the Chevys. Ryan Newman for Richard Childress. Jamie McMurray for Chip Ganassi Racing. Darrell Wallace Jr., the new driver for Richard Petty, and they now have Chevrolets. Ty Dillon, Germain Racing. Chris Buescher for JTG Doherty, and Brendan Gaughan, both in Chevrolets. As are Justin Marks and Jeffrey Earnhardt. David Gilliland and David Reagan, who has a couple of wins on plate tracks. Let's get down to our FS1 All-Star Pit Crew, beginning with Jamie Little.
Hello, Mike. Well, Brad Keselowski, he kicked the season off with a bang. The only driver in the field to call himself a winner in 2018 after winning the Clash last Sunday, though. He told me that the car he's driving tonight, the Daytona 500 car, it's actually better than the one from the Clash. Watch for Brad to hook up with the 7 other Fords tonight and draft his way to the front. He told me he's confident he'll make it 2 for 2 tonight. Matt Yoakum?
Jamie, 3 Hendrick cars hold down the top 3 spots, each with their own agenda. Especially rookie William Byron in the 24. He told me his goal tonight is to be extremely assertive, put himself in some really good learning situations. As crew chief Jerry Grubb told me that what impresses him most, he drives like a 10-year veteran, makes so many smart decisions. He expects to see more tonight. Regan Smith?
Ty Dillon has had a off-season full of changes. A new baby and a new crew chief being 2 of the biggest. The good news for Ty, he's worked with crew chief Matt Borland before in the 2016 season. They look tonight to build on that and get off to a strong start to 2018. Vince?
Well, one of the biggest stories of Speed Weeks has been the debut of Bubba Wallace in the 43 on a full-time basis. Bubba told me before climbing in the car, this is awesome. I haven't raced since September, and I didn't know if I was ever going to get that chance again. They didn't do much drafting in practice, so that's the #1 goal tonight. Get comfortable in the draft, and of course, Larry McReynolds, bring that car back in one piece because they don't want to go to the backup for Sunday.
And Vince, this is a very short race. You can do this race on one trip to pit road, and a lot of these teams that were not part of the Clash on Sunday, these crews will be making their very first stop of 2018. Let's take a look now at the race analysis. There you see it, a short race, 60 laps, 150 miles. Pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. The fuel window, 46 to 48 laps. Now let's take a look at the weather here at Daytona tonight. It is a gorgeous night, been beautiful all day. There you see 66 degrees, track temp 80, very clear. And Mike, this track's going to get cooler, the speeds will go up, and the grip level will go up.
It'll be a fun night, Larry, that's for sure. Well, our ace statisticians, Bert and Ernie and a guy named Joe, have put together this computer model that we call, well, we can't call it Bert and Ernie, we'll call it Bernie. And Bernie, whose predictions can adjust during the race, picks these drivers as the computer-generated top 5. We're not sure if all of us agree.
I think Bernie's reading my mind.
Really? Oh, Captain Obvious. He wins the Clash. He's fast in the Clash. So Jeff has
I think he's on
Brad.
a mission.
Hey, there's a lot of Chevys in this race. I think Jimmy Johnson way overdue. Keep an eye on that 48 car. I think tonight is his night.
I'll tell you who has waited for this since we were last at a restrictor plate track. Ding, ding. Ricky Stenhouse in one of those fast forwards.
Guys, after 2017, Joey Logano starting 6th in that 22 car needs something good to happen, and he is in an FORD Ford. They are the make to beat here this week.
Well, 3 of those 4 are in the Bernies, so we'll see how it all sorts out. As we get set to go racing here in Daytona, the 2018 Toyota Camry XSE leads the field. Fox Visor Cam returns, and it's where here is Daniel Suarez, driving the only Toyota in Duel number 1. He will roll off 4th, and Kurt Busch, the defending 500 winner, will roll from 9th position in his Ford, the inside of row 5.
I mean, you talked about Suarez. Only Toyota in this 20-car field. That's amazing that he's all by himself.
It's just an odd, even deal, depending on how you qualify.
Yeah.
I'm really anxious to see what happens here on the front row. We've got Alex Bowman, Jimmy Johnson. Alex Bowman's chosen the outside line. Now, typically when we've seen that, we've seen where that's teammates going to get together and try to line up. As you see, Jimmy Johnson and William Byron are on that inside lane. Is that what Alex Bowman's thinking here for the start?
I never know what drivers are thinking on the start. It's always a crapshoot. You think you got it figured out, and then they drop the green flag.
So 3 of the 4 Hendrick Chevys are in this race. All 3 of the Penske Fords are in this race. Only one of the Gibbs Toyotas, one of the Roush Fords. Everybody else sprinkled throughout the field here.
I definitely think we'll see manufacturers working together.
Pace car heads left. You know what that means. Here they come to begin the Can-Am Duel at Daytona. Green flag in the air. We're racing.
You can actually see Alex Bowman waving the field by him. He put his hand out the window. I'm not so sure he isn't just going to go to the back here.
You better be careful going to the back. Get run over trying to get back there.
Yeah, this is risky in itself.
Yep.
No matter what happens tonight, Bowman starts on the pole for the Daytona 500 unless he were to have to go to a backup car.
Yeah, there was only one if something should happen tonight, and that's if he would direct that car. And I think what he's doing, he's going to take care of that car and not get it in harm's way.
But you know as well as I know, DW and Mike, this is a race. Even though it's at night, it's still incredibly important to learn something from this race to prepare yourself for the Daytona 500 by being in the middle of a big draft.
Here comes Logano trying to lead lap 1, and he does. He and Blaney draft past Daniel Suarez to lead the first lap.
You know what I love? You know what I love about race here at night? Watch the sparks. The sparks are going to fly. Some of them are going to come out from the car. Look at all those. And some others might come from making contact with each other.
I mean, we saw in the clash how strong that these Penske Fords were working together. And we don't see Brad Keselowski up there yet, but he's coming. When he gets connected with those other 2 teammates of his up front, watch out. Here he comes. Up the middle, 3 wide.
And goodbye, Daniel.
Yeah, this is going to take Daniel Suarez pretty far back.
He's going to take his breath anyway. Jamie Mack right alongside. And now Jimmy Johnson drops to the bottom. Logano leads lap 2.
Suarez is waiting for another Toyota. I don't think it's
Sunday.
Sunday night.
That was just wrong.
Oh, not tonight.
You know, usually or often it's the man in the middle who gets squeezed back. This time it's the top side that fails to advance.
Mike, it's a little edgy right now. Look, it's a little squirty, a little hairy right here. All these cars bunched up like this. But everybody in the field right now knows if I can get myself in line once we get sorted out, I'll be a lot better off being up here in the front. Now we'll be in the middle of the storm.
Ty Dillon, yep, right alongside Suarez.
Stuck in the middle, definitely not where you want to be, but he's gonna hold that line as long as he can because he knows he's got the help behind him with the 31 of Ryan Newman, who's actually sort of like a teammate to Ty Dillon. Suarez is holding strong out there on the outside, even though he really doesn't have any drafting help.
Middle three, bottom is gone. Line it up on the top here, middle three.
That's Ty Dillon's spot.
Pick up the line on top here. 31 still with you. Quick hole behind us 31 if it doesn't close outside.
Now, one thing that's not at stake tonight is making the race. There are 40 cars in the field. 40 cars will start the 500. So everyone will race on Sunday. The big question is, where will they start?
Drivers don't seem to remember those kind of things. They leave it up to their crew chief to remind them that everybody will make this race, because all drivers know when they drop that green flag, it's like a red flag in front of a bull. They're going to charge.
And we saw this out of the Penske drivers in that clash the other day where they started to get single file, run that high line, force somebody to go to the inside to make that pass. And if somebody, say a Jamie McMurray, says, no, I'm not content being fourth, that's what's going to produce that inside line to start forming and making some moves.
Those three cars in front are the same three cars we saw in the front in the clash last week. If you look at the 12, the 22, and the 2, those were the best cars in the clash last week.
And they are all teammates. Ryan Blaney is the new third driver for Team Penske this year.
It's incredible how fast they formed up and got to the front. I mean, they took no time, especially Brad Keselowski. He came from a little bit further back, right up to third. That shows you how strong and how confident each of these drivers is right now.
And now you got to figure out who's patient. You know, is Brad going to be happy running third? Probably not.
Well, he will be right now.
Well, let's look
at the end.
Let's look at attitude. Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, these cars were all tail dragging, trying to get that rear spoiler out of the air, and everybody wondered if it would make the handling really dodgy here tonight.
Yeah, well, the track's temps are much cooler, grip's much higher than it was here on Sunday afternoon, so it's kind of a false security almost. You're going to have these cars feeling pretty good tonight, and you're going to feel pretty good about your car, but I don't know how that'll work out on Sunday afternoon when it's 80 degrees.
All right, pit road, Matt Yoakum.
Joey Logano pulled off the grid and he said tonight is all about points and a trophy. Todd Gordon said let's show him exactly what we've got right now. The car is out front, sits a little bit on the splitter, a little tight, no adjustments. Remember this year they've got the track bar adjuster for the plate races. The car is good, P1.
And what I like about Joey Logano, he's got probably the best spotter, if not the best, one of the best. TJ Majors is his spotter this year. Dale Jr. spotter for all those years, and that guy knows how to get a guy out front and keep him there.
6 of 60 laps complete. Joey Logano out front. Sparks fly in Daytona. Caution is out in Daytona, and Jimmy Johnson is out of the Can-Am Duel. Let's take a look at what happens. You'll see Johnson drop down out of the single file line. It's Eric Almirola climbing out. Here he is on the right side of the screen. See what happens here.
Jimmy drops in the line after they come through the trial. Well, he realizes he has a problem. It looked like the car got pretty loose right there. As he moves down, I believe he blows a left rear tire, sends him in Eric Almirola. Daniel Suarez has to avoid him, spins to the infield. I think other than some tires, Daniel might be okay. Heavy damage to the 48 of Jimmy Johnson.
All right, let's turn up our Fox visor cam and show you what Daniel Suarez saw.
Half back to the 43.
Great job, great instincts to be able to turn to the left. He saw the corner of his eye, Jimmy Johnson having a problem with turning back into the field and avoided him.
Eric Almirola from his rear bumper.
Absolutely nothing that Eric Almirola can do any different to avoid that.
And we'll ride along with the 7-time champion of this series, Jimmy Johnson.
Gets a little loose right there. He checks up. Oh, you can hear it pop. I heard that pop.
He felt it, backed off, got down low, but when it popped, it just went left.
Now, I don't know if you know, he ran something over, but these cars are down, sparking a lot. These are the highest speeds they've seen in any kind of conditions. I just wonder if maybe there was a rub on that left rear fender.
Here's Jimmy Johnson's radio.
I just don't know any tire rubs or anything. I'm really perplexed. All right. Well, let's get the backup up. All right, bud. Thanks, man. Sorry.
Now, clearly in that view, the left rear was down. Daniel Suarez has made a pit stop and continues. Jimmy Johnson and Eric Almirola will not. First ride for his new team, Stewart Haas Racing, for Almirola.
And then, Mike, this is another one, a dress rehearsal. Maybe there was something rubbing. Maybe there is something they can find that caused that tire to go down. They get that fixed before Sunday.
Taking the long ride back to the garage area after this puts us under caution in Daytona.
It's the biggest, most prestigious, most hard-fought championship in this genre of racing. The gate drop happens right now.
Strategy Supercross, Arlington, Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on FS1.
Introducing the new 2018 Ford F-150 with best-in-class towing, best-in-class payload, and best-in-class torque. The F-150 lineup has the capability to get big things to big places big time. And things just got bigger. F-150 is now Motor Trend's 2018 Truck of the Year. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
Pit road is open here in Daytona. Under caution, Vince Welch.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. says he's on the splitter just a little bit. It's going to be a gas-only stop. Kevin Wing, the gas man on the 17. Jamie?
Keselowski in the 2. The car's been pretty decent, but he's a little loose everywhere, especially on the straightaway. The 12 is in as well, Matt.
Air off the 24. At this juncture, 2 tires, possibly 4 for the 24 of William Byron. Concerned about possibly going through some debris. They're going to go 2 on the 24.
The 4 Fords took gas only and beat everybody out. Logano, Blaney, Stenhouse, Keselowski. Working caution for Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola, and Daniel Suarez. Once again, his view. A lot of cleanup down in turn 1 and 2. That's where Eric Almirola rode along with a snail's trail of oil and water after Jimmy Johnson collected him after losing a left rear tire. That is 2 totaled out race cars for Johnson in 5 days, who on the last lap of the Clash here Sunday got into a big wreck, not of his own making.
Well, a couple of things I see here on pit road, particularly just saw the 88 car Bowman. They're moving the track bar, Mike. The track bar is solid. It's on the left side. They'll move that track bar to where they can get some of that skew out of the car and make the car drive a little bit more like a normal race car would. That thing was really skewed bad for qualifying, trying to fix it.
What do you say we dial up our defending Daytona 500 champion? Hey, Kurt Busch, this is Jeff up in FS1 booth. You got me?
10-4, I got you, Jeff.
Well, I don't think any of us really knew what to expect in this race. You're probably talking with some of your fellow drivers, but now that you've made some laps, what are you seeing out there? What's it feel like?
There still seems to be a general consensus of rear instability. Like, these cars are hard to bump draft, and the cars are moving around a lot. And then it's big on the transitions from the flat to the banking and then back again. So still a lot of uneasiness, and we got to get more stability in these cars. It's been tough, though. No practice. I want to go. You can pick. Come with us. Come to it. Yeah, he's got you. Coming to you. Don't fight him. Get a windshield tear off. Top off.
All right, leader Justin Marks comes in. So does Chris Buescher, Ty Dillon, You're riding with Kurt down pit road. Jamie McMurray back for another try. Easing into his pit stall.
Mike, even then you hear the chatter of the rear tires. That's because there's no travel in the rear. These cars are locked down solid in the back, and that's why they're so difficult getting in the corner, and that's why they're loose and jumping around the way they are. There's no travel back there. They're just locked down solid.
And we heard Kurt Busch talk about instability even on the straightaways. You know, we've seen some very aggressive drafting and bumping on the straightaways. I don't know. They're going to have to definitely make some big adjustments to these cars for this race and certainly for the 500.
Well, Joey Logano had a choice to make. Which lane to take on the restart?
Wonder about taking the bottom and sliding up. Oh, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking taking the top, but we can try that if you want. Keep me up for it.
Yeah, so what he's talking about is it's whether he chooses the inside or outside, and he knows he wants to get teamed up with Blaney. And so, you know, if he can start on the outside, maybe drop down or go the outside and go up, because they were running that top lane, I think he's thinking, let me start at the bottom and get up in front. We take that top lane again.
All right, 46 laps to go, crew chief. How are you feeling about fuel mileage?
No, I think they're good. I even think those guys that did not come to pit road and top off, I know Kurt Busch, Ty Dillon, Chris Busch are topped off just for safety, but I think with the cautions we've got, they should be good to go. And I'm not convinced we're done with caution.
No, I'm not either. But you talked about the 22 Logano taking the inside. Really, he doesn't. He's got a Ford behind him. He's got a Ford on the other side, so he's in pretty good shape no matter what lane he picked.
4 Fords at the front of the field, then a brace of Chevrolets, Byron and Newman. Pace cars in. They'll complete lap 14 when they take the restart green. There it is.
There goes Logano to that outside lane, getting in front of his two teammates. Brad Keselowski's also right there behind Ryan Blaney.
And how can he go wrong? You got Stenhouse up here, who's won on a restrictor plate track, and you've got Brad back there, who's won on a restrictor plate track. You can't really go wrong if one of those guys is behind you.
Driving through all that speedy dry, they blew most of it off with the jet dryer. That should take care of the rest of it.
And you saw how that materialized far back in the middle of 1 and 2, where Brad got a good run to Blaney, big run to Logano, and that pushed Logano out free and clear, and Blaney.
Jeff, I just watched that 12 car of Blaney. I just think if he can get an idea, figure it out, and I think that's what he's trying to do. I believe he's got a really fast car that could possibly lead this thing, but he keeps kind of trying to get out of line when it's not the right time.
He's got two of the best to work with right in front of him, right behind him. If he learns from them, he's going to be a real threat in Sunday's Daytona 500.
We're back under green at lap 16. Let's go down outside the care center. Regan Smith.
Jimmy Johnson, a tough start to the 2018 season for you. 2 wrecks in 2 races so far. We heard you say you didn't have any tire smoke with the car inside the cockpit. Was there any other warning something was about to happen?
Tough way to start Speed Weeks. I feel terrible for my race team. I think for all of their hard work, and we'll get that backup out. But the car started to shake a little bit entering the tri-oval, and that's why I pulled down. I was kind of shocked that I had the shake and knew it was that soft tire shake coming from the right side. And as I exited the tri-oval, it finally went flat and hooked me around and into Eric, unfortunately. So, terrible way to start, but thankful for all the support from Chevrolet, Lowe's for Pros, and we'll get that next bullet out and get ready.
Well, 3 of Johnson's last 4 wins came from starting in the rear.
Yeah, no stranger to passing a lot of cars and still being successful when it comes to race day on Sunday. But, you know, 2 cars in 2 races. I mean, they only bring 3 cars down here,
that's
including the Clash car. So they're going to have to go find another car, maybe, hopefully, when their teammates comes out of this race clean and they can pull out their backup car.
Yeah, really discouraging to get a start like that for a champion like him.
Hey guys, look at Ryan Newman in the 31 car running 5th right now. There's a brace that's behind that left rear tire that holds that quarter panel, and it's broke, or it's fallen off, and you can see right there.
Oh, yeah,
you can see it's flapping around. That's not going to be good for the performance of that 31.
Well, Larry, it's because that quarter panel been dragging the ground. We saw on the early start here with the low air pressure, those rear quarter panels were actually dragging the ground. It dragged that
look at it flare out right.
Look at it now. It's a big
catches air.
Yeah, it's a big parachute.
Now, that won't bother him too much as long as he's in the draft, but if he ever gets out front in the lead, it definitely will have an effect. Saw McMurray there looking for a little bit of room to get to the outside. He's wanting to get back to the front.
That may be a little downforce in that 31 car back there in traffic.
It could very well be, but I don't think I have to worry about him getting the lead with it flopping like that.
He might have the most stable car on the straightaways.
Ricky Stenhouse has been trying the bottom in that blue and white 17, and he's had help, but that outside line has been just too strong.
Well, we know how strong that car is and how good Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on these restrictor plate races. He won 2 races last year, and I think that he has the confidence to go do it. He just doesn't have the help right now.
Not right now, maybe later. Back down to Regan.
Eric Almirola, new year, new team for you. Not the start that you wanted to have with these guys. We know you couldn't do anything to miss the wreck right there. Did you at least get to field your car out a little bit for Friday's practices with the backup?
Yeah, I did. I felt like my car was really fast. I was running partial throttle, just kind of managing my runs and waiting for our first pit stop. So I was just kind of cruising along, and I did not envision our night going that way at all. I thought we had a really fast midfield Ford Fusion, and I honestly thought we had a car that was capable of getting up there and challenging for the lead when things started to sort themselves out. But things don't always go the way you plan them. So we'll get another car out. Everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing did a great job over the offseason building a lot of fast race cars, and I'm sure we got another bullet up in top of the trailer, and we'll get it out and get ready for the rest of the weekend. So it's only the 150, so we still got the Daytona 500.
Almirola replaced Danica Patrick in the number 10 for this season. Patrick has a one-off ride and will be in duel number 2.
Mike, we got 3 teammates leading this 3-4, but look who's right behind them. You got the 31 car and the 43 car of Bubba Wallace hanging right in there.
Vince?
Well, and Bubba Wallace narrowly missed that earlier incident involving Almirola and Jimmy Johnson. He was the car right behind them, got through just barely. Now he's running behind Newman. You guys noted the left rear issue for Ryan Newman. That's Bubba in the 43 right behind him. They made a left rear shock adjustment on that first pit stop. Bubba said the car was pretty good, but he didn't like the way it was handling in turn 3. Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, said, let's make this adjustment, see if it helps any.
But it's a steep learning curve for all the Chevrolet teams. They have a brand new body this year. The Camaro replacing the late Chevy SS. Work in progress. Matt?
At the beginning of the race, you saw pole sitter Alex Bowman methodically fade to the back to protect his car to keep it on pole for Sunday's 500. Going through that damage of Jimmy Johnson's car, he hit a bumper support in the left front headlight area, pitted. The 88 guys looked it over. No harm, no foul. Now he's just about 5 seconds back in the second pack, just riding to keep that car safe for next Sunday.
Well, he's living up to his nickname of Bowman the Showman. The way he got that nickname, it was our producer, Barry Landis, that hung it on him, because he's just such a nice, unassuming young man. He's not a showboat like, well, pick your driver, okay?
You know, guys, I talked to Alex Bowman yesterday on our special edition of the Race Up Show. He said, Larry, we came here to sit on the pole. We only ran 6 laps of practice on Saturday. This did not surprise me. They'll get serious tomorrow and Saturday in practice, get this thing ready to draft.
Yeah, they're one of the cars I saw working on that track bar, and we know how that car was so skewed to the left qualifying. I don't think it's quite that bad now. That raising that track bar and then the adjustable track bar inside the car, he's got that car running pretty straight now.
Well, I sort of anticipated this possibly being an option for some teams. If they thought they had a shot at the front row or the pole, that they would go all out and know that it would not be ideal for these conditions and maybe have to give up this race for the Daytona 500 pole. But I guarantee you they'll get that thing dialed in for Sunday. I'm curious to see in Duel 2 what Denny Hamlin does with his front row car.
Yes. Well, what we're seeing here with these 3 Fords out front does not surprise me. As Michael did his grid walk in his rush to talk to Brad Keselowski, he almost tripped over Edsel Ford, the godfather of Ford racing, who's here kind of supervising all of this. And out front, we've got 3 Penske Fords.
Yeah, I talked to Brad a little bit, Mike, and he said he felt like that the body on the Fords down here, it kind of was it almost made it obvious to everybody else. They're good on these tracks where you don't need a lot of downforce. Next week when we get to Atlanta, might be a horse of a different color. But they definitely got the package for the restrictor plate races.
24 laps complete as you ride with Daniel Suarez in 9th place at 198 miles per hour into the corner.
And you wonder why these cars are hard to drive. I mean, these cars are going faster than they've ever gone down here in a race. I mean, these things are flying, and the back of the car is solid as a rock. It's like riding a buckboard, and that's what's making them so difficult to make passes and hang on to. Buckboard's a wagon, you know, with no shocks or springs.
You've been watching the Westerns channel again.
Yep.
Now, one of the things you have to be a little bit careful of being in that outside lane is when you come off the corner and you're in that draft, if your car has any kind of a tight feeling or push with the front tires not gripping, it's really easy to use that draft off the car in front of you to suck yourself into the wall and create some damage on the right side.
So why put America's best drivers in America's worst riding race cars? It's aerodynamically efficient that way, right?
It makes them fast.
Right.
And look, every crew chief, every driver, they just want to go fast, Ricky Bobby. I'm just telling you.
And they're so afraid they're going to give up speed to somebody else out there that's going to figure it out. But I really think come Sunday, day race, Daytona 500 miles, you're going to have a car that is stable, especially when I hear Brad Keselowski say it's loose on the straightaway.
Jamie?
And Jeff, that's exactly what he said before that last stop. He said it's worse on the straightaways. Well, now since the pit stop, he said he has a little bit of a chatter and it's darty in turn one. So the car definitely a little ill handling. And this car, he said, drove a lot better than on Sunday. So they definitely have their hands full. But right now he's sitting right where he wants to be.
Yeah, and see, Mike, another thing that crew chiefs and drivers, you don't want to tow the car out too much. If you give it a little tow, it'll drive a lot better. But it slows it down. So that's what we're working on tonight. Where can we be on that edge but not be too loose?
Paul Wolfe, former racer in the NASCAR Busch North Series, and a good one. The crew chief that made the call, 2 tires in the clash that gave Brad Keselowski the track position that got Brad to victory lane.
So many of these crew chiefs are past drivers, and that experience behind the wheel, understand when a driver tells them what the car is doing and where it's doing it on the track, that information is only valuable if you can truly understand what they're going through and what they're doing. That's why I love having a crew chief that has racing experience.
Yeah, a crew chief makes a driver. I mean, that's his ace in the hole. That crew chief can give me a fast car, let me use my skills, and we can win races.
Ty Dillon, 8th place right now, 5th in that group of 5 Chevrolets in a row. Regan?
Yeah, guys, Ty Dillon may have been one of the luckiest cars in that last wreck, actually. They dodged a big bullet with a right rear tire that looks like it had a cut in it. He came in, it was very low. We saw that car sparking a lot when he was out there running. We might know why it was sparking so bad now.
Well, he's got a 13 car, got a new crew chief, Matt Borland. He come out of retirement to kind of take over the crew chief duties on that car. Be interesting to see how they get along and what kind of progress they can make.
William Byron, we listened in.
If you're not really going anywhere as you go along there, just save a little fuel, just give us some cushion at the end. I think the 17's doing the same thing, saving a little for a push to the front later.
Yeah, William Byron is going to school. He's a great student. We know very well, and that's been documented, him going to Liberty University. But this kid is so new to this kind of competition, this type of car and the way it's handling, that he's trying to just absorb as much of it as he possibly can. I think he's in a perfect position for that. But I don't know if I agree with Darian Grubb on the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. saving fuel.
No, what I like about William Byron, he seems to be able to get it on the edge, but not over the edge. He takes it right up to the limit, but not over the limit.
He has won, and won big, in everything he's driven. Now, we talked about Ricky Stenhouse. He's still not making any headway in that low groove, Vince.
Well, he tried earlier and said he just couldn't get any help. He said, I'll regroup, wait a few more laps, and try it again. He is doing that. He had Kurt Busch going with him for a moment, and David Reagan was back there as well. They just don't seem to be able to get any steam going on that inside, but it's not for a lack of trying.
Jeff, how long did it take you to win a race down here in that 24 car?
I had a little success in our first duel.
Yeah, the first time.
First time he won.
In Thursday, in what was a 125-mile race, victory lane.
I absolutely loved coming down here those first few years and having a car that was fast and handling well, and I just loved the draft. It was a blast. Now, we weren't in such big packs like this back in 1993. It's changed a lot over the years.
You know, I watched Stenhouse. He's back there almost at the back of this line. He knows he has a fast car. We know he has a fast car. I think he's experimenting just a little bit.
Now he's got a little help there from Kurt Busch and David Reagan. Those 3 cars, nose to tail, 3 Fords. Can they gain any ground? And Larry, what kind of tools do they have to do it?
Well, I've been watching Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in that 17, and he's doing what we call a side draft. And we're going to go to our Ford Aero tracks, and we're going to show you what side draft actually does. You see the car right here approaching the left rear. He's going to move over, and what that does, that stacks air up on the spoiler of that car he's passing, and on that left rear quarter panel, it doesn't really speed the car up that's doing the passing. It slows the car down. That's what Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is trying to do right now.
Larry, the first time I ever saw that, kind of felt it myself, was with Dale Earnhardt. And we were practicing, and he about drove into my door.
We thought it was speeding the car up that was doing the passing. It's slowing the one he's passing down.
Yeah, so he drove into, I almost drove my door. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm side drafting. I'd never heard that word.
Well, the problem Stenhouse had was that Kurt Busch could not stay with him. And now Ricky jumps up into the high lane. His group of 3 cars came apart.
He's not done.
He's going to keep trying.
He's going to keep on trying. He just was afraid. They're going to go up and side draft the 19 of Daniel Suarez. Now, the advantage he has is since the leaders are in that high line, he can run down low and actually run the shortest line through the corners. If he could just get some help, like you mentioned, Mike, to get a few more cars behind him.
Guys, you know this. Ricky Stenhouse has to have a really good handling race car to be able to make those moves. He just abruptly turns down to the bottom of the racetrack when he sides drafts. So that could be a great sign for this team come Sunday for the Daytona 500. Looks like that 17 car is handling well.
Yeah, you know, Michael, all he's trying to do is get somebody to help him. If he can get 2 or 3 guys to jump down there with him, he feels like maybe that bottom line would be quick, the shortest way around the track, but he can't get anybody to work with him.
Well, Kurt Busch tried the inside, and look where he's going.
Halfback. Coming to you. Working with you. Working with you.
And we've seen this in the past where if you get the first 5 or 6 cars that they're content, they're happy to be in the position they're in, they're not going to budge. It's going to take the next 6 to 8 cars to all work together to get in that inside line if they're going to come up and battle for the lead.
Well, Stenhouse crew chief Brian Patty, he loves these speedways, these restrictor plate races.
Okay. 37 laps complete in the first race that makes up the Can-Am Duel tonight. Set the field for the 500. Joey Logano's led all but 1 lap. 1 caution flag. Jimmy Johnson lost a left rear tire on lap 9. Collected Eric Almirola.
Oh, they're wrecking. 24's around.
Oh, no.
William Byron, the rookie.
Hold her down.
Stenhouse jumped out to make a move. I don't know if that...
Never touched you, but he pulled you around with air.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw. Yeah. Byron was already... The back of the car was definitely unstable.
There's not that much damage.
No, the right front's down, but the car doesn't look bad.
You know, the damage
I
looks
think the right
minimal.
side is banged up pretty good.
But I had seen him moving around quite a bit with the back of the car going down the straightaways, and when Stenhouse pulled out, it just sucked that car around to the left.
Watch this, Mike.
All right, watch Stenhouse on your right, the blue
car back here behind the 24 when he jumps out.
He gets right up to that rear bumper and then goes to side draft that left rear. Well, I mean, look how close he is. And it just, basically, that just packs air like Larry was talking earlier, but instead of pulling him back, it actually took the back of the car and turned it around.
Mike, I think the way the air is moving around these cars right now with the cars the way they're set up, nobody's really sure what's causing these things to happen. Boy, Stenhouse is...
And he did get the nose, and there's a lot of different pieces that connect to the radiator in that nose that could have been damaged that we can't see from here.
They're tight out back. 24 minutes, 17, top of number 1. Stand behind you, stand behind you, stand behind you. Stay up top. Stay up there. Inside.
Now watch Let's ride with Kurt Busch.
Wow.
That just shows.
Left, keep digging, straight ahead. You're all clear here, all clear.
Wow, what a shot. That was incredible. Wow. Good job, guys.
And there are many possible culprits. Aerodynamics, skew, side drafting. There are a lot of reasons. One thing there did not seem to be, though, was contact.
No, I don't think there was any contact, but we talked about some of these teams going all out for qualifying. And remember, William Byron qualified 5th. So they definitely have a setup that was built for speed. And, you know, he's right in there trying to learn all that he can. But I could tell he had his hands full. We saw it in practice a little bit. And we certainly haven't seen it in this race so far.
Yeah, and being a rookie really didn't have anything to do with that. That's just aerodynamics, and there's nothing you can do to predict that.
Pit road will be open this time. They will come around with 20 to go. Larry, what would you do?
Yeah, I think, you know, most everybody was right there on the threshold of the field window to make it to the end. We may see guys back in the back half of the field, but I just can't imagine those leaders are going to come. I just think track position's too important. We're going to go back racing with less than 20 laps to go.
Looks like we're going to have some takers. Keselowski faked it.
No, we have some fakers, not takers.
7 cars stayed out. Everybody else to pit road, led by Bubba Wallace. Vince.
Bubba says it's just a little bit too free right now in both corners on both ends of the track. So they're going to make right side tire changes and put some gas in it. Otherwise, pretty solid, Matt.
Earlier in the race, Daniel Suarez received damage on the right side when he was involved in the Johnson crash. His team fixed that cosmetic damage. Now he's just trying to fix the balance of the race car, tight in the center, but it just wants to step out on him. Too free, especially on exit.
It'll be kind of interesting to see what happens to Bubba Wallace. He took 2 tires, but he was running 5th. Be interesting to see where he ends up, you know, when they get going again.
Under caution for the second time in Daytona, here is the most telling view of this one from Kurt Busch's car. They will take the restart green with 18 to go in the first of 2 races tonight on FS1. This race will set the inside lane on the 500 starting grid. Logano and Blaney in Fords, Newman, Chevrolet, and McMurray, both in Chevys. Keselowski's Ford are the front 5 as the pace car heads for the pits. And we will restart with 18 laps to go.
Now we have the exact opposite situation we had before. Watch Logano after he gets clear, and now he's down to the inside. Now he's picked up those teammates again of Ryan Blaney and Keselowski.
That was sort of orchestrated. You could see that coming.
Well, something else is being orchestrated with Jamie McMurray and Ryan Newman. This is going to break up those Penske Fords.
3 Chevys. Newman, McMurray, and Bubba Wallace in the 43.
Big push coming on the outside with the 19 of Suarez.
I really like what that 43 did. He came in, he got 2 right side tires. Be interesting to see if that helps him in this situation.
Whoa.
A great move by McMurray to get to the outside and get by the 31 of Newman.
Run will come back to you top.
I think that yellow car and that white car will suck right back up there behind that number 22 in a pretty quick manner.
Not if Jamie McMurray has anything to say about it in his number 1. That Chevy trying to spoil the Ford parade.
Well, you can bet your bottom dollar the guy in that 1 car, if there's a hole, or if there's maybe even looks like a hole, he's going in it.
And you know what he's so good at? Is surprising you with it. Like just when you think he's going to ride in line,
all of us.
Boom, he steps out and makes a bold move.
We've all been surprised by Jamie Mack on the super speedways. Jamie?
And Jamie McMurray just a little bit free, especially in the tri-oval. But I talked to Matt McCullough's crew chief today, and he said in the clash they got a good feel for this new Camaro. And he said he really liked how the cars sucked up to other cars. It was better than the previous model. But he said we're not sure how it's going to push, but we know after what happened with Larson, with Jimmy Johnson and wrecking him, we have to be very careful. If we push, don't do it too hard.
But Jamie, I think a lot is said from Matt McCall doing what he did, pitting early before pit road was open on that first caution and moving that track bar down on the left rear. That was huge for that one car.
It really helped the car, Larry. It's run a lot better ever since they made that adjustment, got some of that skew out of it.
To me, you want to know how strong the 2 of Brad Keselowski's Ford is? That was a power move he just made. He didn't have as much help in the line formed up as much as the outside in the top group, and he was still able to make that pass by Jamie Murray and jump in behind his teammate Ryan Blaney.
I give Blaney in the 12 car a little bit of credit for that, Jeff, because he moved up and picked him up and gave him some help, and then that's all he needed.
But look at Stenhouse still stuck down there again on the bottom.
I think he's experimenting.
Brendan Gaughan has come to pit road under green. He'll take on right side tires. Out of the race, Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola, and William Byron.
Well, I was wondering how this was going to work out for Bubba Wallace in the 43 car. He was running 5th before the caution. He's running 6th after the caution, or 5th, 6th after the caution.
Meanwhile,
yeah,
where's the showman?
Working that throttle a little bit too. You hear him in and out of the gas.
Suarez still looking for his teammates.
Yeah, and they're all in the second race. There's our hell sitter. Tucson, Arizona's Alex Bowman. He is 2.7 seconds back of the lead.
He's in a good spot right there, Mike. If something should happen, I think he's far enough back he can get woed up, but he's also getting a little bit of feel of that draft from that group of cars. It's a pretty good spot to be in.
He is the one driver in this race with nothing to gain. He has the pole for Sunday's 500. Here's Regan Smith.
Yeah, William Byron, not what you wanted to have for a start today. We saw you get a little bit loose out of the tri-oval. We know how difficult the tri-oval is. What happened over there?
Yeah, that was kind of the worst possible spot to get on my quarter panel, and I just lost it. I just got sucked around. The air moved me around, but other than that, it was going pretty well before then. So I hate it that we tore up a car, but we'll go to work and get ready for the 500. So it just was, we were just all kind of riding in a single file line, and a couple guys were trying to make the bottom work and just got sucked around. So
David Gilliland is around down in turn 1 and took a pretty hard hit into the wall. That will put us under our 3rd caution flag.
We talked about Alex Bowman being far enough.
He's an idiot. He won 2 of these things. Now he's a hero. So
luckily he was able to avoid that.
Round of applause.
Let's see let's see where Stenhouse was in this whole thing, because he was right there.
Gilliland was in 12th, and Ricky Stenhouse to the inside trying to make something happen. The white car is Gilliland.
He's going to come up on his.
Oh, it's a very similar situation. Oh, no, that didn't get him loose there. Now he gets a run, gets into the corner. Oh, same exact situation as he crossed over. That is basically just turning these cars sideways when you get that close and pack air in the left rear.
I just
turn them right around.
Yep, I just think that shows what a fine line it is between a car that you can hang on to and one that just a little air moving and you go around.
And again, no contact between the two.
No.
And Stenhouse obviously is very confident in his car's ability to move around because he's making some pretty aggressive moves.
It's hard lick right there. That nose hammered that wall.
Just nothing David could do right there. Once that car came around, he's just along for the ride.
You know, you're just riding along, minding your own business, and somebody gets underneath you and turns you around.
And that's one of the smallest teams here. Ricky Benton Racing. There's David, who has 16 Daytona starts, a best finish of 3rd, and has a restrictor plate front row start. That's a tough break for a very small team.
You know, Mike, pits will be open this time. We're going to go back racing with less than 10 to go. I still believe everyone at the front is going to stay out to keep that track position. I'm sure drivers is kind of mid-packing back, you know, maybe more adjustments, trying to learn as much as you can what adjustments do to the race car.
I think that would be my bet, my best move, Larry. If I was mid-pack on back, come in, work on it a little bit, see if I can make it better. It's kind of scary looking right there.
Lights, cameras, action.
No kidding.
The new Star Wars movie's coming out soon, right?
few takers at the back of the pack, but only 3. So
you know, when I think about that move that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. made, I don't see anything wrong with it. Yes, it's an aggressive move, and he knows he has a car that's capable of getting to the front. He's just trying to make something happen by if he has no helpers and he can't materialize a group of cars that's going to go to work to try to get to the front, he's going to have to try to make that happen by himself. And how do you do that? You make a move late off the tri-oval. You make a move entering the corner, and you hope you start picking them up one by one. But the way these cars are handling is going to have to be really careful doing that, because that is the result of what could happen.
Well, Jeff, the first time you see that, you say, "Whoa, that was weird. I've never seen that before." That right there.
Very vulnerable position, as William Byron talked about, as the banking flattens out off the tri-oval. Now, this second one, they're actually in the corner in the banking, and so I was a little bit surprised that the car came around once they're actually in the banking. So this is coming off the tri-oval. That's where William Byron and Stenhouse had their incident earlier. Now this is actually getting in the corner. I guess the car is still pretty light right there for David Gilliland. It hasn't quite picked up the full load of the banking.
Yeah, we've heard guys say the cars are loose in. They're really difficult getting in the corner. But like I said, that first time he got behind Byron, he thought, wow, I've never seen that before. That time, now he says, wow, I think when I get behind somebody and turn under them, it's getting them loose.
And that one almost collected Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yes, he nearly got into it there. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, more driven. Now, during the last couple of days, a lot of the drivers and their families stayed down here. Clint Boyer told us yesterday he took the bus over to Orlando to the theme parks with his family and with the Larson's family. And they spent extra to get that pass, that fast pass thing that allows you to skip all the lines. So here there's an hour and a half of people lined up for this one ride, and they all march up to the front of the line and get right in front of the people in line. The first to whom was Ryan Blaney. And Boyer's he's just trying to hide. He goes, oh no. And Blaney sticks out his hand and goes, hey, Clint Boyer, big fan.
Oh, he likes to have fun and have a good time, and man, he's enjoying the life that he's living right now as a race car driver in the Cup Series.
He gets it. He really he connects with the fans. He's got a great personality. He's driving for Roger Penske. He's a member of that team. He gets it.
Well, let's see how Bernie, our computer predictor, is doing. Here's Bernie coming into the race. This was Bernie's top 5. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah,
well. His top 2 are in the top 3. And his number 1 figures high in tonight's Ford Performance Track Facts. Dale Jarrett, only driver to win the Clash and the Daytona 500 in the same year twice, 1996 and 2000. For Robert Yates Racing. And Brad Keselowski trying to equal that feat this week.
Mike, I've been down here a few times when I just knew if I had the car that could win this race if I didn't beat myself.
Well, those years where Dale Jarrett, that 88 car, Todd Parrott, they would come down here and they absolutely would dominate everything. They were so fast.
Horsepower.
Just great. Just Robert Yates, Doug, that whole crowd. And Larry knows he worked with those guys. They focused hard on these restrictor plate tracks.
Getting ready for the restart. It'll be 9 laps to go at the line. Ford front row. Logano, Blaney, Keselowski. Will they try to do the crossover and line up as a threesome?
Yes, they will. And McMurray will try to do the same thing to break them up.
Riding with Logano under green as he drops down to the inside. And here comes Jamie Mack.
Jamie Mack's just trying to clear the 12 lane, but wasn't quite there.
He would love to get down in front of these guys, but he just can't quite make it.
Now the big push from Newman's going to probably get Keselowski clear of McMurray. You can see that push come to the back of Brad Keselowski's car, and all the movement as he pushes him. That back of that car is dancing around down the back straightaway.
Gosh, Jeff, these guys are acting like there's only 8 or 9 laps to go.
Wait a minute.
Oh, there is 8 or 9 laps to go.
Bubba Wallace trying to give Jamie Mack some help on the high side.
He wants to take advantage of those 2 fresher tires that he has over the cars around him.
I've just been impressed with Bubba in this race. He has done an incredible job.
Well, that pack got broken up quite a bit. We had some 3 wide in the back going into turn 1. We'll give Ricky Stenhouse credit for trying to make something happen and spoil the parade here. Watch that blue 17.
He can go anywhere he wants to. He's top, bottom, cuts underneath people. I mean, the car obviously is sticking really well.
Wow.
His car's sticking really well. The others around him aren't sticking
Not
at
so
all.
good.
Especially when he's right up on the rear bumper.
Not so much.
Bubba Wallace, 5th place in his first full-time drive for King Richard Petty. Vince?
Well, and you guys noted that he got those right side tires. They also made an air pressure adjustment to snug that car up a little bit. And crew chief Drew Blickensderfer said, I wanted to give you tires and that air pressure adjustment so you'd have the best stuff and give us a chance. Well, I'd say he's got a chance. He's sitting right there in 5th. But remember, Bubba told me beforehand, he said, I didn't get to run much in the draft in practice. I want to make sure I get my fill of it tonight. I'd say he has. We'll see if he can bring it in and what kind of position he can finish with here in these closing laps.
3 Fords leading 3 Chevrolets. Then Suarez in the lone Toyota, then 3 more Fords.
I really believe that Jamie McMurray's having some handling issues here. He's always building a gap between him and the car in front of him, which tells me he just doesn't want to get too close. It's taking too much air off of his spoiler or off the car, and it's not handling well. When Bubba Wallace got right behind him, I thought they were going to get a big run down the back straightaway. It never materialized. Here it is again, some bump drafting, but I really don't think Jamie McMurray even wants it, because every time he gets that push, he seems to back off or even maybe slow the car down a little bit. So no, I'm good right here.
Jamie?
It's actually by design. Jamie McMurray just came on the radio and he said, guys, the car's pretty good. I can get to him. I just don't want to yet. So he's biding his time right now.
Wow.
So we haven't seen what the one has, Jeff.
That's a great strategy.
Wonder if Bubba knows that.
No, he doesn't. That's not what I just saw.
Right.
Bubba's kind of like I am. He's just excited about being where he is.
But if I'm McMurray, I'm calling to Bubba's spotter and saying, hey, tell Bubba Wallace that I'm waiting. If he wants to push me, he might want to go on by me. But if he can wait, we can make this move when it really counts.
You see what McMurray did right there. He's falling back off of those front 3. He's trying to figure out how to get that run. How far back do I get to get that big run and get a push from Bubba to get by these guys?
David Gilliland checked at the Infield Care Center and released. He is the 4th driver out of the race, joining William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, and Eric Almirola.
So many times, Mike, what happens, like if you're McMurray and you dive out to make that run, the guy behind you says, ooh, I don't think that's going to work. And he closes the door and leaves you hanging.
4 laps to go. Look at Stenhouse. That boy's the life of the party. He is going to make something happen. And no matter what else happens in this first dual race, he has probably gotten the most beneficial practice in these 60 laps.
You know what he's thinking? I'm down here and I can run that bottom, and if anything up there in front happens, I might have a shot.
Well, something might happen right here. Here's a couple that are going to go down the bottom, Kurt Busch, and if he can maybe latch on to them, they might be able to make something happen.
Kurt Busch, David Reagan.
Kurt Busch all the way up to 3rd with that move.
Big push there. And he's door to door with the 1 of Jamie McMurray. We listened into them.
I don't think we want to go till the white flag lap down the back for fear that unless everyone pulls out in this gear, you'll lose too much ground. It's going to be like 2 corners to get a chance. Yeah, simple. I agree.
Remember what happened in the class? 22 went to the outside of the 12 to try to get up there and get the lead. That's what the 12 just paid back by trying to take the lead there. Crash on the back straightaway.
Keselowski tried to jam it in there and bump draft. Pays the price.
That's a good race car that just got torn up.
Jammed it in there. The hole closed right up on Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell if he was trying to come up or if the 1 car McMurray just forced the issue.
That's what I say, Paul.
Not happy.
Jamie McMurray just closed that hole right up.
That's absolutely the last thing you want to have happen in this duel. Especially when you have a car as good as Brad Keselowski's.
Yep.
And here comes McMurray coming to the rear bumper. It looks like the two actually moves down a little bit for a split second and then thinks twice about it, but McMurray was there by then.
Now you'll see that close up from the Goodyear blimp.
So great run here by McMurray. Now Keselowski's trying to figure out what to do with it. He almost thought about going to the 12, but he comes back up and McMurray filled that space and nowhere to go but in the wall.
Wow. That's a shame because that too is a great car, and now they've got to go to a backup.
I was so surprised to see Blaney make that move with 3 to go on his teammate Logano. Yeah, you can see as he starts to come up, they hooked a little bit, and it made it even look worse as Keselowski turned into the outside.
Well, we saw Blaney do this very same thing in the Clash. He tried to get the lead, and he pulled out the line, and nobody went with him. I think he still ended up 4th, but he doesn't want to run second.
38-17 behind. Outside with a run. Keep coming straight ahead, straight ahead. You're good, you're good. Caution's out here. Side by side. Hold by one out front. One inside. Half out front. Inside.
Well, Suarez has done some great maneuvering around some of these wrecks tonight.
Bubba did a nice job right there too, guys. Up to 3rd place and a great move by him.
And that awesome view from our visor cam. Heavy damage there. I can't imagine that they'll be able to fix that.
Nope, a lot of damage.
And here's Brad Keselowski's radio.
Half in there, spotter. I'll have to go look at it. There was a big enough lane for McMurray to get there, and he went. I can see that. It's just one of the deals. Sorry, guys.
You know, that communication is key, but you also have to understand a lot's happening in a short amount of time, and it's all the way on the back straightaway. These spotters do an amazing job, but let's remember they can't do it all.
That's one of the best, Joey Meyer. I mean, one of the best spotters up there. He said he couldn't tell really what was going on.
I want you to watch Bubba Wallace in the 43 and what he did to miss this.
Pretty amazing, really. He swings low.
Yep.
There he goes, right by him.
Saw that starting to materialize in front of him. And as soon as he saw the back of the 2 come up and start to get turned, he just went left to avoid him. Great that he has a car that's driving as good as it is, not just with those tires. I think they have a very good handling racing.
I agree, Jeff. That thing has been right there all night.
Now we will go to overtime. I see Larry Mack's calculator burning up because Larry's been a long time since some of these cars came and got fuel.
Well, when you look at Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, and Ryan Newman, yeah, they have not been to pit road since lap 11, Mike. They did not want to see this overtime. But let me say this. Since they pitted, we're going to be close to 15 caution laps, and that buys you a lot of fuel, so I think they're okay for at least this one overtime.
Well, we know one thing, the 43 is because he came in, got a little fuel and tires, so if fuel became an issue, Bubba again is in the driver's seat.
Larry, let's review the rules for NASCAR overtime 2018.
All right, so we're going to go back racing with 2 to go, and as long as the leader gets back to the white flag, has to get back to the white flag, then it's official race.
No more overtime line.
No, thank the Lord.
Amen.
I agree with that.
The leader takes the white flag under green. The next flag ends the race, yellow or checker.
Science project over with.
Green next time by. Jamie McMurray back to pit road. He had a bit of damage from that.
Through Blickenstoker right there above his crew chief. He's got to be pretty excited about what they've been doing tonight.
How excited do you think these guys are watching this race that are getting ready to go do this in Duel 2?
I think most of them are saying, man, I'm glad that 17 in our race.
Well, it was a long time ago, but let's review. Let's see, Bernie, our computer, I think is in the garage. But here are our picks.
I'm out.
I'm out.
W's out.
I'm out.
Joy, still in it.
Yeah.
Larry Mack, you're looking pretty good there, Larry Mack.
Wait a minute, I want excitement points. This race pays 10 points to win championship points. I want excitement points
But I'm
for
gonna tell you
Stenhouse
what,
tonight.
Mike Joy has a bulldog. What he got? That's 17 car.
And it's not really, he's not doing anything wrong. He's basically driving his own race, doing his own thing. It's just not working out well for others.
His car doesn't have a mark on it.
No.
A lot of people's do.
He's just not playing well with others.
No. He'll restart 8. Blaney, Logano up front, 2 Fords, then 2 Chevys, Newman and Wallace. Then the Ford of Kurt Busch, the Toyota of Suarez, Fords for Reagan and Stenhouse, and then a whole fleet of Chevys behind him.
I think it's game on here, guys. I don't know if this orchestra. I don't know if the 12 is going to let the 22 down this time.
After what we just saw, as the 12 of Blaney went to the outside or the inside of Logano to try to take the lead, I agree. It's every driver for himself right now.
It's all about who's going to win this one. I kind of like that. I mean, you know, they're teammates, but man, Blaney wants to win this thing.
Green flag in overtime. And best friends, Blaney and Wallace are nose to tail for the lead.
Who would have ever thought that?
We're
Blaney and Wallace?
Maybe, yeah.
We're about to find out how good of friends they really are.
Oh, baby. Oh, Bubba got it pushed up the hill a little bit right there. Got in, almost got into the 22.
And Blaney goes up to cover his teammate, Logano.
Yeah, that's Blaney now has to keep his eye on his mirror and just work each lane. His spotter's going to be talking to him, telling him where the push is coming. See Stenhouse get to the outside of Suarez, going to make it 3 wide.
There's a lot of bump drafting in the backstretch.
Where's the 17 at? He's back in here.
3 wide.
Yeah, here you go.
All right, the white flag waves. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. Ryan Blaney with a 2nd place finish at Daytona. Looking for his first.
No, he's got no help.
Speed Week.
41 of Busch just got to his left rear.
I think Bubba's going to take the lead going down. This is going to be very interesting.
Well, Bubba's going to need a little bit of help. If the 41 can get it up and get past the 22, which I just don't think he's going to, they're going to be side by side. But here comes Stenhouse on the outside.
Of course. He finally went to the outside, been on the bottom all night. He said, let me try the outside a while.
Here they come off turn number 4. It's the best friends 150, Blaney and Bubba.
Wow.
Logano trying to spoil it.
Oh.
Ryan Blaney for Team Penske.
Oh, there.
Logano got him. Oh, he got him at the line.
Well, that was a real lesson right there for Bubba to know that he's got to block that move before it ever gets there.
Are you kidding me? He's got to be elated, man. This is, you know, he's in the Cup Series. He just ran 3rd in the qualifying race.
He did an awesome job.
What a job.
And so did this guy, Ryan Blaney.
And what about Stenhouse? He worked there all night long and came in 4th.
That's the lineup of Bernie.
Wonder if Boyer will go up to Blaney and go, big fan.
I am going to when I get a chance.
How about that?
That is beautiful. That kid he didn't want to run second in the Clash last week, and he didn't want to run second tonight. He wanted to win.
So let's take a look at tonight's clean pass presented by Tide. And it will be the pass at the line for 2nd place. Here comes Logano on the outside of Bubba Wallace.
Well, Bubba tried to block him, but he didn't do a good enough job.
And I really thought Logano didn't have a shot at getting there. Look, this is coming off of turn 4. Look at this huge run that he gets. I'm sure Bubba thought,
yeah, he thought about it.
He's going to get there.
He thought about it. I think Bubba said, I'll just take whatever I get out of this one.
Blaney's previous best in a duel was 3rd in 2016. There by about 5 feet, Joey Logano gets 2nd. From Wallace with Stenhouse 4th. I don't think we're going to see burnouts because, after all, you need this car for Sunday.
Top 4 guys all under 30 years old.
Well, I'm going to pay more attention to Bernie in race 2 because Bernie, our computer, got 4 of the top 6. Well done.
With Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers in the battle for number 2 in this race. Joey Logano in his Penske Ford just getting ahead of Bubba Wallace in the Richard Petty Chevrolet.
Nothing feels better, Chris, than just conversing with your peers right after the race. They battled out tight. Watch how close this finish was between these two.
Ryan Blaney, your winner, and he crosses the finish line, and there it is. Wow, that's close, and Vince is standing by. Vince Welch with Bubba.
Well, before the race, you told me you just wanted to get some good drafting experience. I'd say you got that, and you darn near won the thing. What's going through your mind there at the end?
No, that was good. You know, I looked at myself. I kind of stepped back during the race. For some reason, I have that mentality now to feel how calm I was. The whole time I was pretty calm, except for that first wreck. I wasn't ready for that one. That one got my attention. But we were just biding our time there. Got to the top and rode. And I know I said in previous interviews that I didn't want to do that, but that's the nature of the beast right now. So, but no, a good day for our Click and Close team. Our Chevy Camaro 01 was pretty stout all night long, I believe. I'm still learning all the ropes and everything, and I think the biggest challenge for me there at the end was obviously push Blaney out. You're welcome, bud. But then keep the 41 behind me. So he was pretty aggressive and is just trying to learn as much as I can. So I feel like I did okay there, and a little late moving up in front of the 22, but it's okay. 7th is a lot better than 25th. So proud of my guys, proud of the effort. You know, it goes all the way back to the shop for these cars, and you know, that just shows how pumped up we are for the season.
Okay, indeed. 3rd place for Bubba Wallace. Matt?
Logano and Wallace certainly had the fun meter pegged. Did you learn how you have to adjust maybe when you make that run, that move at the end?
Yeah, I was surprised. You know, when Blaney went to pass me, it was the same move he did when he tried to pass Brad in the Clash, and was pretty sure he wasn't going to make that move again. And I thought I was in a good spot with Brad behind me on that backstretch, and I thought, man, we're going to be in a good spot to get back to the lead. And then they wadded him up behind me. Same thing as the Clash. They always wad him up behind me. And I lost our run, and that was about the 100 feet that I didn't lead this whole race. And it gave Blaney the control on the restart. And I had the 2 best friends on the bottom lane there. They might as well be teammates for crying aloud. And so that kind of hurt my run up top. I couldn't get the 31 to get close enough to me. And then just got a good enough push to get back to 2nd. But I don't know, 2 seconds so far. One end of it, it's okay, and the other end, 2nd, really just sucks sometimes. But maybe I got 2 Penske cars so far, and maybe we'll win the most important one on Sunday with the Shell Penzo Ford.
There you go. Let's go to Jamie with one of the BFFs.
24-year-old Ryan Blaney with a brand new team, and Team Penske gets that first victory. Everybody's talking about you and your BFF, as we say, Bubba. He said you're welcome for the push to you. How much fun was that battling? I think you guys even talked about it in the press conference this week.
Yeah. No, first of all, I got to thank everybody back here. And that was a little weird. There's no water being sprayed. It was very, kind of unenthusiastic. But, yeah, I saw he was 3rd, and I figured he'd give me a good push. And he did. He did a great job all race. I saw him. And, he did a great job. But I can't thank everybody from Menards and Peak enough for giving me a really fast race car. I thought our cars in the Clash and tonight have been really, really good. So awesome that we have amazing speed. Hopefully we can bring it home on Sunday.
And John Menard in victory lane. How much confidence does this give you, though? I mean, it's you and your crew chief. You're still together, but a new team. Looking forward to Sunday.
Well, it's nice to get the year started off well. Obviously it's not the 500, and you never know what can happen on Sunday, but we came close in the Clash, and I didn't make a good move and kind of lost that race. And I felt like I learned a little bit, and I thought about that forever. And I thought we learned a little bit from our mistakes. But it's so nice, bringing the 12 car back and getting into victory lane. Hopefully we can make it, another one here on Sunday. That'd be the one that counts.
I would say Ryan Blaney in this 12 car is one to watch on Sunday, Chris.
Yeah, Jamie, and he was 2nd in last year's Daytona 500, and he started last, worked his way all the way up. Remember, we had 4 different leaders in the last 4 laps. That was last year. You heard him talk already, thinking about Sunday on Fox, the great American race. Where did Blaney win this? He only led 6 laps.
Well, I think, like he said, he learned from his mistake that he thought he made on last week in the Clash. So he moved his move up sooner. He with 2 to go, he decided he would take a shot at the lead. I think a lot of the competitors, Chris, were frustrated no one went until the last lap, giving them a chance to win. Check out this restart. He powers it down. He's got Bubba Wallace right behind him. Right now, he's got the world by the tail.
And right now, Ford, it seems to be, and Jeff Gordon said on our pre-race show, I can see them kind of ganging up on people and controlling things. We thought we saw that. Logano thought he saw one thing, but Blaney made his move when he had to. Will we see something like that on Sunday?
Yeah, I think we learned so much from the Clash. Just waiting around to the last lap, you can't win that way. So Blaney moved his move up a lap to try to give himself a better chance to win. Got the group all mixed up, and he was able to power away. So great lesson from the Clash. He applied it tonight. How will it look on Sunday for the Daytona 500?
And had to work overtime. We went to overtime in the first. We have another dual race coming up. By the way, Blaney to start the week, 20-1 odds for the Daytona 500. That could change. We'll have more from Daytona in a moment. Live here on FS1, that's the King with his rookie, Bubba Wallace, who will start 7th in his first ever Daytona 500 on Sunday. We just completed the first Can-Am Duel, the second one coming up, and as we run through the finishing order, the success, remember the Fords in the Clash claimed the top 4 spots overall. And Michael, here we had 8 cars involved in crashes, and Jimmy Johnson, Eric Almirola, Brad Keselowski in backup cars for Sunday's Great American Race.
And I think we thought maybe that could be a possibility, Chris, because these cars are difficult to drive. They're moving around quite a lot. So loose, out of control in a tight pack, you're going to have some accidents, and we saw that tonight in the first duel.
There's your winner, Ryan Blaney, and a great finish for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's standing by with Matt.
Stenhouse is 17, looks like an animal just maneuvering at will. Were you surprised, though, at how aero-sensitive, or is that a trend we're seeing when we saw the incidents with the 24 and 92?
Yeah, I think it's really something I knew going in. Larson got me real loose in the Clash when we were going into turn 1, so I knew kind of how sensitive that was, but you can really pull a car back like that and get some huge runs. And so I was trying to time it where I could pull them back and slide up in front of them. And, you know, it's the cars that are loose are just hard to hang on to. I felt like our Fast Enough Ford drove really, really well, and I was being aggressive, trying to give the fans at home something to watch. So instead of just riding around in the top lane, but I thought we showed exactly what our Fast Enough Ford had in it. And, you know, I'm really looking forward to Sunday's race and you're watching this second duel. But I do want to say we're thinking about everybody there in Parkland, Florida. The tragedy that went on there at the school. We're thinking about you. Hope that y'all can keep pulling through, and we'll race hard for you on Sunday.
Thanks, Ricky. Chris?
All right, thank you. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won 2 of the last 3 restrictor plate races. We'll see him in one on Sunday, and we'll continue here in a moment. Kyle Busch with Brexton getting ready to roll. We're going to see him in just a few moments. Denny Hamlin is on the pole for the second Can-Am Duel. And there is Chase Elliott with Mr. H, Rick Hendrick. Let's check in with Vince Welch.
To the 4.
Kevin Harvick getting ready to climb in. What did you learn in watching that first race and what you might be able to apply or avoid here in this one?
Yeah, well, you know, obviously we all knew that handling was going to be a little bit of an issue, or a lot of an issue, more than we expected. But, you know, sucking cars around and spinning them out just on their own is probably a little further than we thought. So definitely looks like, you know, you want to be in the top lane, but we'll do the best we can with our Jimmy John's Ford and try to get a good finish and get some points and go from there.
Thanks, Kevin.
Toyotas, the first 3 spots. What do you expect starting in this Can-Am Duel to wrap up the night?
There was a lot of concern and confusion about what we might see in that first race, Chris, and I think we saw more action than we thought we would. Those drivers now, Denny Hamlin, Harvick, they're versed. They understand the challenges with the cars. I think it'll be a calmer race. At least I hope so anyway.
Yeah, we saw Chase Elliott with Rick Hendrick. Of course, Alex Bowman is on the pole for the Daytona 500. We saw his plan right away in the first duel was to slide back, stay out of trouble as a number of other drivers caught up in trouble. Kyle Busch ready to roll, so let's take you back down trackside.
Here to deliver the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome Grand Marshal, Senior Vice President of Global Brands and Communication for Can-Am, Anne-Marie LaBerge.
Drivers, start your engines!
All right, the engines, maybe they're not quite ready. She was ready. If she was in a car, she would turn and start the engine. And I know upstairs they're ready to start their engines. Based on, Mike, on what you saw with Michael here in that first Can-Am Duel, going to be very different, a little more cautious. What do you expect in the second one?
Well, that's the tradition here, Chris, is if the first one is wild, the second one's pretty tame. I just spun out standing here. Darrell didn't even hit me. we didn't even make contact. And that is what Jeff, is so perplexing about what we just saw is that these cars are so sensitive to cars changing lane and arrow. So if you were in this race, how would you approach it after what you just saw?
So Denny Hamlin made a comment, it was interesting, after qualifying the other day. He said, I didn't even think we were going to be on the front row because we brought a car, or we went into qualifying with a car that was really set up to race. So I'm curious to see what the Toyotas do in this race. Now, the winner came from 6th position on backs. I think Blaney was 8th, Logano was 6th, and Bubba Wallace was even further back than that. So I'm wondering if those cars in this race are more set up with some downforce, with some grip, with a car that's going to drive a little bit better, if they're going to have a little bit more success at handling in the second duel.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
Now, this will set the outside lane for the Daytona 500 starting row. It was Team Hendrick against Team Penske in row 1. 3 of the 4 Joe Gibbs Toyotas and the alliance with Martin Truex, the defending series champion, they're in this race.
Yeah, it looks like a Toyota race with all the Toyotas in this race. But, Mike, you can learn a lot watching these things on TV. And I think the guys that are in this race watched what happened in the first 150-miler. I think the crew chief, the driver, and everybody got a better idea about what to do to these cars to make them handle a little bit better, because that was the issue in the first 150. Some of the cars handled well, and they ran up front, and some of the others were loose, and didn't take just a little air movement to spin them out. So I hope these guys made the right adjustments. I think they did.
Well, like the cars in the first race, the teams haven't been able to touch them since Sunday qualifying. Aaron Rodgers up on Danica Patrick's pit box for this second duel as we set the Daytona 500 field.
Tonight you have the best seat in the house.
Here's the battle to race in.
All or nothing right now.
Green flag.
The Can-Am duels are so much fun. And they're racing like the whole year is on the line.
It's going to be the car to beat.
See ya. Don't want to be you.
Same song, second verse. It's duel number 2 of the Can-Am Duel at Daytona on FS1. Denny Hamlin was the second fastest qualifier on Sunday. He gets the pole, shares the front row with teammate Kyle Busch in Joe Gibbs Toyotas. Eric Jones is new to the Joe Gibbs team, his Toyota and Kevin Harvick's Ford in row 2. Chase Elliott is the first Chevrolet in this group, and Paul Menard new to the Wood Brothers team in a Ford. Austin Dillon Chevrolet and Clint Boyer's Ford in row 4. Casey Kane with a new team this year, still in a Chevrolet, and Trevor Baines Roush Ford. Kyle Larson, Chip Ganassi, and Michael McDowell, new to the 34 this year. Series champ Martin Truex. And in her final NASCAR race, Danica Patrick today and Sunday's 500 will cap her NASCAR career. A.J. Allmendinger and Matthew Benedetto in the 8th row. Canadian DJ Kennington and Georgian Mark Thompson in row 9. Corey LaJoie and Ray Galding round out the starting lineup.
Let's say we dial up the number 9 of Chase Elliott. Hey Chase, this is Jeff up in the FS1 booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Man, where'd all your teammates go? They were all lined up in that duel, that first duel. Now you're kind of the lone Hendrick car. After watching that first duel, what are you going to have to do? What do you expect to win to be able to win this race?
Yeah, we're on our own on this one for sure, but I just think try to stay up towards the front. I think we thought track position was king in that last race. Try to put yourself in a good position to be on offense at the end of this thing. So we'll see.
Well, I got to ask you, we're looking at your windshield. Can you see through that? Looks like there's some condensation's been built up on it.
Yeah, I had to turn my non-existent defrost button on. It's getting there.
All right, well, let's hope it's clear, ready to go. I know you're going to want to see out that front windshield for this race. We're looking forward to seeing you out there, and great to see you back in that number 9.
Yeah, man, looks good. Thanks, guys.
Chase Elliott will roll off 5th. Back down to our fearless foursome on pit road. Jamie.
Well, Austin Dillon was pleasantly surprised by the performance of his car in the Clash. He finished 5th on Sunday, but he told me a little while ago that he feels like he could do a better job. He needs to switch lanes, and he needs to be more aggressive. He went back and watched the video of that race earlier, and he said, watch out, our backup car is good, so I am going for it tonight. I want the win. Matt Yocum?
Kyle Busch and Adam Stevens, they've got their teammates surrounding them. The biggest thing they noticed from the first duel is really when will that caution fall? That's going to dictate whether you take tires or just fuel only. Kyle won this event 5 years ago. They feel like the race early on is going to be to see who can get to the high line first. Regan?
Kyle Larson likes a loose race car. Everybody knows that. But he told me earlier in the week at Disney World that his car on Sunday in the Clash was extremely loose even for him. Worst news for him yet is that Chad Johnson told me earlier today this car for tonight is set up very similar to that car. The good news is they know how to fix it. The bad news is they can't do it until tomorrow because of the impound. Look for Kyle Larson to be elbows up all night long tonight.
Well, for defending series champion Martin Truex Jr., his team views this as an exercise. They didn't get a lot of opportunity to practice in the draft during practice because they don't want to risk it. Did run in the clash, but they look forward to getting some more drafting opportunities tonight. And crew chief Cole Byrne told me anytime you get to do a live pit stop under these new rules, you want to take advantage of that as well. And oh yeah, there are points available, and we know when there's points on the line, the 78 always going for them. Larry Mack.
Vince, as a crew chief, I always liked being in the second duel. That way I could see what unfolded in that first duel. The two things I learned, I'm going to have to be pretty aggressive with changes on that race car to get it tightened up. And the other thing, and we saw it in the clash on Sunday, you still want track position. I think possibly the winner of this race, only one trip to pit road. Let's take a look at the race analysis for the second duel. Same thing, 60 laps, 150 miles, pit road speed 55 miles per hour, and there's that fuel window, 46 to 48 laps. Let's take a look at what the weather has done since the start of Duel 1. Stayed about the same as far as air temp, but look at the track temp. It has cooled down over 10 degrees. That means these cars will have more grip, Mike.
Thanks, Larry. There they are, 20 cars for Duel 1 to set the outside lane of the 500 field. Well, are we feeling the burn? Bernie got, our computer got 4 out of the top 6. And here is Bernie's pick for Duel 2. Nothing like the low-hanging fruit up front.
I don't see any of my picks on Bernie's list. I feel like I might be in a little trouble.
I think Mr. Bernie has become the obvious. Well,
so I went with Chase Elliott. I really like some of the moves he was making on Sunday in that clash.
I like the 20 car Eric Jones. He told me this is the first time in 2 years that he's had the same crew chief. I like Eric Jones in that 20 car. He's going to have a great year.
Hey, if Cuckoo Marlin and Robbie Gordon can win the duel, why not Paul Menard? The Wood brothers always have a fast car here. I like a dark horse.
Guys, this is like weekend at Bernie's, and Bernie's driving a Ford, and the Ford will win this second duel. It's going to be Mr. Where Did He Come From? Kevin Harvick in that Ford.
The closer.
We're all over the map with this deal.
No, nobody. Oh, you picked Toyota.
Yeah, I got Jones. I like him.
Well, speaking of Toyotas, the 2018 Toyota Camry XSE leads the field, lights out atop the safety car, so we'll look for green this time by. And we listened in on Danica Patrick starting 14th.
Let's just have a smooth night, guys. We'll just kind of feel it out. It's like practice here. We're going to have a really hard practice, but, you know, let's just dial the car in and be smart.
Reunited with a longtime sponsor and racing for Premium Motorsports. That's Tommy Baldwin's number 7 on the side of that car.
Tony Erie Jr., the crew chief. That's good to see him in the garage.
You can tell by her voice. She's embracing and enjoying this last ride, this moment, and you can almost sense some leadership, you know, in Danica Patrick's voice there, and some confidence. I'm anxious to see how this night and Sunday goes for her.
Yeah, I just think she's not feeling pressure. I don't think she's feeling the pressure like she has been in the past.
Cleaning off the tires. Another 500 feet. The pace car will turn left. There it goes, and the field addresses itself to the starting line. 60 laps, 150 miles. Green flag.
Probably going to see something very similar to what we saw before with Joey Logano, and there you go. Denny Hamlin down to that inside lane to pick up his 2 teammates.
And Kevin Harvick on the outside has no friends.
He's got
one. He's got Paul Menard.
He's got Menard back there.
Yep.
And there's
actually, and then he has his teammate
Boyer back there. So yeah, he'll get some help down the back here.
And then Trevor Bayne, 4 Fords on the outside of those 3 Toyotas, which now move to the high side, and now front on the inside is the Chevy of Chase Elliott with Austin Dillon and Casey Kane.
It's kind of fun to see that 9 car out there with Chase Elliott driving. It brings back so many memories to me with Bill Elliott and the family number. I just think that's a great move by Rick Hendrick and that crowd.
They also have Kyle Larson, 4 Chevrolets. Elliott to the high side.
Slams the door. Mullins moves up, sees that move coming.
Bold move.
Man, that 3 car is, he is bottoming out big time. That's like the track bar, the quarter panels, and maybe this fuel cell. I'm not sure.
You see that outside line really gaining the momentum back.
And notice how that 3 car is kind of moving around quite a bit. That's just, I think that thing is so low in the back that they're going to have to wait for the pressure to come up for that thing to settle down.
But no dropping back for Denny Hamlin, like we saw with Alex Bowman in that first duel. He's out there leading the pack. See how comfortable he is if he gets shuffled back behind some cars.
You know, Jeff, he said he was shocked that the car qualified as fast as it did because they were in race trim. They just taped her up, got her ready to qualify, and qualified on the outside pole.
We have one new record already set tonight. Most laps led in a dual race. Joey Logano with 56. So Denny Hamlin has his nose in the wind, Michael.
And shocked is how you would describe Denny Hamlin after that qualifying run last Sunday. He couldn't believe how much speed his 11 car has in it because just like you said, DW, he's set up to race. The opposite of Alex Bowman, who got the pole. He couldn't compete in his duel because his car wasn't set up to do so. Denny's ready to rumble.
Hamlin won this race last year.
I like Hamlin's attitude this year. He comes in here loose, and he said he wants to enjoy himself and have some fun. That's when a driver is at his best, when he feels that way.
Austin Dillon was running that inside lane, but now has dropped in line 16th.
Yeah, I just don't think that car was very happy, at least not on the start here.
And when we see these cars get single file like this, the big factor are those first 3. When you have teammates, those 3 Toyotas that are lined up, willing to work with one another, run that high line, makes it so difficult for the 4th place, 5th place, 6th place car. They all would have to work together to team up against those 3. That's going to be tough to do because there aren't a lot of teammates out there that are working together nose to tail.
Is it any different from when the 3 Penske Fords were out front of the first
Very
race?
similar. It's almost exactly the same.
The same in what we see in this race. These guys all went right to the top. I mean, we saw some racing, you know, early in the first qualifying race. This time, these guys all went to the top, got single file, and here we go.
Now, I would expect a lot more give and take in this race, given what we saw in race 1.
Yeah, I'm thinking every crew chief is saying, hey, man, the 2 cars just tore his car. The 48 got his car torn up. Come on, man. Let's keep our car in one piece.
You heard what Kevin Harvick said. He said, boy, it's been a long time since I've seen a car just spin out just because a car was trying to pass it. So that right there in itself is going to make these drivers be a little bit more aware of what's going on.
And to Darrell's point, 5 teams that were in race 1 have already announced they'll have to go to a backup car for Sunday's 500.
And that's huge. I mean, I know it doesn't take them. It doesn't mean they're not going to win the race. Doesn't mean they're not going to have a chance. But it just puts a lot of pressure on the teams to get another car ready.
Saw Truex peek out there, tried to go the inside line like we saw Stenhouse doing so often in that first duel. Here he goes again. He's going to side draft off the 34.
That's something that the drivers all said, Mike, that you can really get a run and keep on going and make a pass.
With the side draft.
But again, just like we saw in Duel 1, unless there's a group of cars either in front of him or behind him, do you see how aggressive Truex was getting back up in the line? The car almost stepped out from underneath him.
A move from 5th place, Harvick.
Yeah, 4th place actually of Chase Elliott going back to 5th as Harvick made a move but didn't quite complete it.
No, he couldn't pull up in front of Chase. There just wasn't quite enough room for the 4 to get in front of the 9 right there. A little too close.
Yeah, but fortunately has his teammate Clint Boyer to pick up Harvick.
Down to the inside again.
Yeah, Harvick likes that low line. He thinks he can make this move and make it stick. And he's got a bit of a buffer there by having his teammate Boyer behind him.
Yeah, he knows Boyer will give him a break and let him in. So that's a little insurance policy there, which is nice.
Big push.
Believe it or not,
Bernard to the bottom.
If you drag the brake a little bit, it's amazing the amount of momentum you lose. And to open the door to let somebody in.
A pretty nice line forming on this inside, led by Paul Menard. If somebody like Harvick and a couple others want to jump down there, they might actually. There they go.
Whoa. Harvick had to go all the way to the bottom because Chase Elliott also came down at the same time. A push from Austin Dillon. to Martin Truex. Isn't going to make its way all the way to the front of that.
No, he's not. That gap closes up by Chase Elliott. This is going to leave Harvick out. I don't know if there's anything his teammate can do. Just like you said, DW, and Mike, sometimes you just can't hold that gap open long enough for your teammate.
Got some help coming to push. Here's your push. Just keep him back there. Time's still covered.
And that's the risk right there. You saw it. He took that risk to try to make one position up, thought he could clear Chase Elliott, and now it might cost him a lot of positions.
I like the way Menard jumped out there. Looked like he was going to try to help Kevin Harvick in the Ford. Didn't stay there long enough. Little trash on the grill of the 11.
Well, the leader cleans the track for everybody. We saw that Sunday in the Clash.
This line is starting to form pretty good with Paul Menard. He's going to get all the way up, possibly alongside the 18 of Kyle Busch.
I think that Menard kid's going to have a pretty good year in that 21 car.
Oh, Kyle moves down the block, but cannot make that move stick.
And here come the Fords.
Harvick is saying to Paul Menard, thank you very much. Thanks for the work, helping me out here, buddy.
Hamlin leaving his teammate to go to the bottom and hold off that foursome of Fords. Then Truex in a Toyota, Dillon in a Chevrolet.
Ooh, there's some nervous cars back in there moving around a lot.
Andy Benedetto.
Those Fords are strong. That was a serious power movement, very impressive by Paul Menard being able to grab those other Fords and work together and get all the way up to second place.
Well, that 21 car, I mean, we know how that's a fast car. It has been on these super speedways for a long time. And I think Paul Menard's going to have the best chance he's ever had to show what kind of driver he is.
I love it. Harvick, he's not content. he doesn't want to be in third. He wants to be in first.
Well, Menard went up top to pick up the draft for Hamlin. Now he comes down to pick up the 4 of Harvick. Back again with the leader.
Menard's doing a pretty good job of going from one lane to the other. Whichever lane's got to push, he wants to jump up in that lane, doing a pretty good job of that. Going to take a good solid look here under the 11 car.
Yeah, he's almost there.
He's there. Whoa, Hamlin
pretty good.
Hamlin put a block on him.
On the racetrack. One more on the racetrack. Thank you.
Complete.
Chase Elliott pushing the issue with Eric Jones.
Oh, Jones around.
Just like we saw in Duel 1 with Stenhouse.
Yep, same thing.
Matthew Benedetto, the 32. Patrick shoots by. Kyle Larson is in it.
Larson, minimum damage. Oh, no, his left front's tore up.
You know, anytime there's a rule change, Mike, Jeff, there are unintended consequences. And these cars getting loose when somebody gets alongside them like that is an unintended consequence.
We saw Chase Elliott. He started to push the issue. He saw an opening, and he started to go for it. But then he backed out. And as he backed out, and they came off the corner, and it flattened out. It's just spun 20 of Eric Jones. So here you can see Chase Elliott side drafted in the 78. He goes for a move, and he says, no, I'm not quite ready to make that move. But he stays right there on that crucial part of the quarter panel, and that air, as it was packing up on that left rear, as Eric Jones came off the banking, spun him right around.
I don't think that Jones ever hit anything.
You can see Jones gets a little
contact
loose right there.
You saw that right front tire spoke a little bit.
And a tough break for the 32 at Benedetto. Go Fast Racing, one of the sport's smaller teams, caught up in that one.
Danica did a great job making it through.
Did he touch you? No, he was sideways the whole time.
Well,
different perspectives.
That was Chase Elliott's view. Here's another look.
There's a little bit of spark that comes out from under that 20 car.
They almost make a little bit of contact right there, and that got Eric Jones' attention. It stepped out slightly on him. He gathers it back up, but by packing that air from the right front fender, that's what spins him around.
We saw what looked like a little tire rub off Chase's car, but
I saw a little sparks come out from under the 20 car.
And no contact there.
Because you
can just see it start to come around.
It's just loose. That just looked like all air right there.
And once again, no contact. Boy, DiBenedetto took a hard shot into the wall, as did Kyle Larson. Regan?
Yeah, Trevor Bayne getting ready to come into his pit stall here. Their plan is to take 4 tires and fuel. His race car is just a little bit free as he comes into the box, hits his marks, and the guys get the service started. No, they're going to go no tires. Jamie.
Paul Menard making his 400 start, and it's with the Wood Brothers. Fuel only is the call. Greg Irwin with the call. Matt?
Easy in for Denny Hamlin. Not the flat spot the tires. Fuel only for the 11 and the 4. Kevin Harvick said his car was just too free on the bottom, especially with someone on the outside of him.
Kevin Harvick out first. Gets track position for Denny Hamlin on the pit stop. We are under caution for this.
All right, you ready to go start 2018?
Yes, sir.
Bring it back to me just like that. I know. I'm going to work on that.
Absolutely nothing that Eric Monroe can do.
Yeah, I'm okay. Pretty bummed out about it for sure. That was not the way I had tonight envisioned.
Eric Almirola and Tony Stewart's plan did not come to fruition, and nor did it for Eric Jones. Chase Elliott getting close enough that the air turns Jones' car, Kyle Larson, and Matt DiBenedetto into the wall as a result.
Mike is right at that transition off the banking on the straightaway, and that car just got loose.
DiBenedetto and Larson are off track as we get ready to restart. Kane 2 laps down after stops. Pace car is in. We'll go back to green, completing 15 of 60 laps. Kevin Harvick first out of the pit, selected the inside. Neither he nor Hamlin can gain ground.
No, they're both a good spot, though. The 21 there of Menard is behind the Ford, so they got the Kyle Busch on the outside behind the Hamlin and the Toyota, so they got the guys lined up like they want them.
It's a drag race.
Just who can get a break here? Man.
Paul Menard right on the rear bumper. Kevin Harvick trying to get him clear.
They're all bunched up, pushing each other, 2 by 2. Big push.
Wow, Harvick by inches that lap.
Don't you love the spotters?
They're door 11.
Calm. 2 by 2.
Somebody's got to be calm because there's nothing calm going on out there on the track right now.
Now, Larry, we heard on the radio just prior to the caution, one of the spotters saying one more lap on the track. A group of cars were planning to pit under green.
I think that was actually Mike Wheeler, Denny Hamlin's crew chief. He said one more on the track. That meant make one more lap on the racetrack. And I think the Toyota Brigade, just like we saw in the Daytona 500 a year ago, they were going to stay together and get that stop out of the way under green.
Well, what do you think of all these fuel-only stops?
Pit stops are so slow. In the first Duel, we only had about 4 or 5 stops that were sub 20 seconds. All the new rules, these guys, they've just not wrapped their arms around it yet.
Remember, the teams only have 4 crewmen to service the car, plus a fueler. That's 1 less man over the wall than last year, and the fueler cannot participate in adjustments or repair anymore.
Boy, what a difference from race 1, where they just continued to get single file, get in that outside lane, and try to ride it out. Nobody's been able to break away in this pack so far. They've just been side by side since the green flag dropped on this restart.
And you know, Jeff, I think the reason why that is because the Fords were so fast, those Penske Fords in the first race, they could string everybody out by getting up top. No one has that speed in this race, and they can't get away from each other, so they're side by side. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, they seem to be really evenly matched in this race, don't they? Although that Ford to Kevin Harvick and the 21 to Paul Menard seem to finally take that charge to those Toyotas.
Those cars are just a tick better than the Toyotas at this point.
That they've done for the moment. Let's check with Vince.
Well, and Kyle Larson, one of those that got knocked out in that incident. 12 laps or so. Enough time to learn anything about what you had out there?
Not really, I guess. You know, different conditions, obviously, than what we'll have on Sunday. So just hate that we tore up another car, and now that my guys have to get a new Credit One Bank Chevy prepared before tomorrow morning to practice. We just really didn't want to crash today, so that stinks. It haven't seen replay or anything, but it kind of looked like the 9 maybe got into the 20, middle of the corner, but then it seemed like we were all good, and then they started spinning on X, and I had nowhere to go. So part of Super Speedway racing, that's why we love it.
Glad you're okay, Kyle. Mike.
Kyle Larson, Matt DiBenedetto out of the race. Eric Jones, whose spin triggered that caution, was able to continue.
Mike, in the first race, we had Bubba Wallace, who ran up front the whole 150 miles. In this race, we got Michael McDowell in that, in that 34 car. Derek Finley is Michael's crew chief. I know Derek from the past. They got a pretty good hot rod right now.
Doing well. Jamie?
Well, the plan for Danica Patrick in the green number 7 GoDaddy machine was to drop to the back. They didn't want to get in any kind of issues because their backup car, well, it would be a situation. According to her crew chief, Tony Uri Jr., he said, basically, we don't have a backup, so we cannot wreck this car. Well, as soon as she dropped to the back, the big issue happened right in front of her, so she went up. She was mid-pack in the battle, so she's trying to feel the car out in this draft. Remember, it's a brand new race team, Premium Motorsports, for Danica Patrick.
That's right, Jamie. She was eligible to run the Clash last Sunday, but the team did not have a car for her.
Michael McDowell gets extremely loose off of turn 4. Going to get caught in the middle here. He's got his hands full.
Oh, he does. He's got to let me out of here. Everything was going so well.
Yeah, he's doing such a nice job.
I think that's just how unpredictable these cars are. They just go all at once.
Middle tight.
Whoa.
SOS.
Hang on to her, Michael.
Still outside.
Now that time I thought that Austin Dillon was having a tough time holding on to his car as he was underneath, and they were 3 wide.
Second place, Hamlin prevailing against Menard for the moment.
Casey Kane making it 3 wide on the bottom, and trying to make some passes and get to the front.
Boys, we're going to have to up our game on these picks because Bernie's top 5 are all in the top 5. That holds true when we come back. 22 laps complete. And we said the second race would be tame. Here's our aerial coverage. Goodyear. Those who live up to their names make one for themselves. Goodyear, more driven. Not sure who's the most driven among these front 3. Everybody wants it. And here's Paul Menard getting so close to Hamlin. And it looks like as he gets in line behind Denny, it straightens Denny's car up.
Yeah, it started to turn the cars. We got a lead change here. Chase Elliott by Denny Hamlin. These guys, there's no team orders up here. They've all been swapping the lead since we've gone to braking. Now coming back, Chase Elliott takes the lead. But what I'm seeing is if you decide, as Chase Elliott does, he kind of ran the middle of the racetrack right there, but he goes to the high line. If you choose that high line, it does give the second place runner an option to go down to the yellow line and complete a pass.
Remember, he's got 4 fresh tires on his car. Now, I know it don't make a lot of difference, but it allowed him to do what he did.
The reason he has those 4 tires is he had to serve a penalty on his first stop, then over the wall too soon. He had to come back in, and because he was going to have to start tail into the longest line, they came back in and got tires.
Yeah, I agree, but that just gives him a whole lot more grip and a whole lot more nerve.
There's a replay of that lead change.
And Jeff, we've heard this from a lot of the drivers. When a car gets a run, it can make the pass. It can complete the pass.
They really just worked that left rear quarter panel like we've been seeing, that vulnerable spot, the rear bumper of the 11, and was able to complete the pass. Jamie?
And I talked to Chase and his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, before he got in the car. And they told me their plan the last 2 years was to focus on the pole. Well, they didn't race very well. They said they had to change their whole plan coming into here. So they gave up some speed for the pole, but they knew they would have a better car. He also learned some things in the draft and practice that they adjusted. They expected to be more stable tonight, and that's exactly the car that he has.
What's really interesting, Jamie, that you say that, because the other Hendrick cars were in the top 5, where Chase Elliott was 10th after qualifying, and that's what put him in position in this second duel. And I wondered, well, did they just not have what it took? Did win the pole or the front row, be on the front row, and it seems to be paying off by having a better handling.
Rick Hendrick sitting there, Jeff. You see him concentrating. Rick Hendrick, this Hendrick Motorsports over the winter and offseason, they've gone through some incredible changes with their driver lineup, the way they're operating back in the shop, and I think it's going to pay off for them. I think it's really going to be a good move that Rick made, getting his teams reorganized.
I think they saw what was going on around them and the other teams that are having success, and they said, you know what, we've got to reinvent ourselves here a little bit. What we've been doing is not working as well. We've got this new Camaro coming. We've got some young drivers. Let's bring this in-house and start really focusing on how we can work together.
6 lead changes so far, 4 at this stage in the first race, and Martin Truex trying to make something happen on the bottom. I think the best thing for Martin Truex tonight is Barney Visser, his car owner, is here at the racetrack. Barney had a heart issue late last year, could not see his driver win the championship at Homestead or come to the banquet, but he is here today.
That's great news to have him here, have him back at the track.
I just think Martin Truex's confidence is sky high because he has a team that loves him. He and Cole Pern, I mean, they're on the same page all the time, and that's what makes them successful.
Chase Elliott leading in the number 9. The 9 has won this race 3 times. Casey Kane once, and Chase's dad Bill twice. Chase Elliott still leads at lap 34. Saturday on Fox, college basketball's best. Second-ranked Michigan State against Northwestern, and then a top 5 matchup. Number 3 Villanova visits number 4 Xavier. It all begins at 2 Eastern on Fox, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Lap 35, and the second-generation driver in the Elliott family.
Engine number 9. She's moving on. Don't you know everybody back in Dawsonville and all around, all the Elliott fans and the family and everybody, they got to be so excited about seeing this 9 car out there tonight.
When his dad, Bill Elliott, was winning every win, I think it was Ken Squire, now Hall of Fame broadcaster, who made Gordon Perkle famous because Gordon Perkle ran the Dawsonville Pool Hall and former fire station and would ring the bell and sound the whistle every time Bill went to Victory Lane. I believe that tradition still holds true to Chase, even though he did not grow up in Dawsonville. He's a son of Dawsonville. Well, in race 1, Bubba Wallace was a bit of a surprise up there in the top 2. How about A.J. Allmendinger having a strong race here in the top 5? Regan.
A.J. Allmendinger has looked great tonight up here in the top 5. I had a fun conversation with him and crew chief Christian Smith in their hauler earlier today. A.J. said he wanted to ride around and just kind of feel his race car out for the first half of the race. Christian Smith said, the heck with that. I like my backup car. If we wreck it, so be it. Go up there and race with it. Race hard with that thing all night long. That's what it looks like he's doing. He looks really good up in the top 5 there.
When you don't have a good backup car, you wreck. When you do have a good backup car, you never have a problem whatsoever. It's always works that way.
Third place finisher last year. Past the 72 of Corey LaJoie. DJ Kennington, Greg Galding also down. Off track, Mark Thompson, Matt DiBenedetto, and Kyle Larson.
I think
Paul Menard got down to the bottom. He's the one that brought that train down from that inside lane and brought them to the front the last time. He snuck out there trying to bring Austin Dillon with him, but Austin Dillon said, no, thank you. I'll go back to the top.
From Eric Jones' bumper.
Hello. Wham.
And you actually heard a little bit the engine start to lose some RPM as Eric Jones, I think, checked up, and Paul Menard saw that happening, and he just wanted to stay in the gas and keep the momentum and hope that he could complete that pass.
Well, remember, we saw Eric Jones spinning down the back straightaway at the beginning of this race, so I'm thinking he's already got a little experience about what to expect.
.22 laps to go. Denny Hamlin will be on the pole, outside pole Sunday for the 500. The winner of this race, if it's not Hamlin, will start in row 2 on the outside and so on back.
And something you'll notice when we're on board with these cameras, the further back you get, as we are right here on the roof of Kyle Busch, you'll hear them start to check up a little bit as they get closer and closer, because it's like an accordion effect. You can't run wide open if you're 5th, 6th, 7th in line, because you close up in that draft. When you're 1st or 2nd or 3rd, usually you can just stay wide open the entire time. That's why they use a lot more fuel up front.
Yeah, well, it's anticipation. You got to anticipate what the car is going to do a little bit, and then it's a little bit of second guessing. Is that guy going to stand against and going to lift? I got to be ready.
Jones to the inside, Kyle Busch to the inside. Two of the Gibbs cars, and here comes Martin Truex in another Toyota.
Jones, when he went to step out, you just saw the back of the car, how unstable it was, going side to side, almost fishtailing.
He didn't like that at all. The car is just a little unstable, even after probably making some adjustments.
Truex making a little help from Austin Dillon here in the 3. Laps to go. Chase Elliott's Chevy, Denny Hamlin's Toyota, and Kevin Harvick's Ford up front. (16 laps to go. Second race of the Can-Am Duel. Chase Elliott has now been out in front for 18 consecutive laps. Denny Hamlin's led 18 over 3 different times. Kevin Harvick led 7, and Gray Galding led a lap under caution.
So Mike, the guy out front running 202. How fast you got to be going to go? How fast Denny Hamlin got to go to get by?
It looks like they're just cruising, but they're anything but cruising at 202 miles per hour.
202 miles an hour, and you got to be pretty steamy to pull out and pass somebody at that speed.
Now, something I noticed that's unique about what Chase Elliott's doing that's a little bit different what we've seen leaders do is he's trying to protect that inside line going into the corner. So he runs sort of in the middle of the racetrack, and then he tows that line up to the top. So it really prevents it, or makes it very difficult for Hamlin to get a big run, and then makes it even more difficult for anybody to make a line work behind.
What we got to watch with Chase Elliott, let's think back to last year. How many times would he be leading the race late, and then something would happen and he wouldn't win?
And how many times last year, I can think of 2, when he and Denny Hamlin got in a dust-up in late season on the track. They are not the best of friends, those 2 up front. Kyle Busch with a run.
Well, nothing went with you.
It didn't quite.
Whatever you need to work aside.
Couldn't clear Boyer. He was so close. That would have been put him in a great position right behind Harvick in that 4th position to make some moves later.
Here's a little Kevin Harvick audio.
Jimmy, only chance I have here is if them guys behind us will go with us. I just don't know when the right lap would be. I'm standing with Brett trying to figure it out right here. 21 had said he wanted to take a shot at it at some point here at the end.
So those are Fords, Harvick at the 4, Menard at 21, and your Chief Rodney Childers talking about the 2 spotters trying to work a deal up top on the roof.
Yeah, I mean, I like the 14, the 4, and the 21. That's 3 Fords. If they get their act together, they can go up there and take that lead away.
I'm sure there's a lot of deals being made up on the roof.
Your boy Eric Jones, for a fellow who spun right in the middle of a bunch of cars on lap 12, there he is, 6th place.
And that car is not the best. I mean, that car has been nervous all night long. We saw that from the very get-go, and he's doing a whale of a job hanging on to it.
Now, Matt Kenseth drove that car last year, former champion. Joe Gibbs Racing replaced him with Jones, who they moved over from Satellite Team Furniture Row in 2018. But Matt Kenseth stirred up a little stuff on Twitter when he showed a picture of he and his family standing on the jet the other day saying, well, it's that time of year, time to go. And everybody jumped on Twitter, even Dale Jr. What's up with Matt Kenseth? We all thought he was coming down here. The next day, here's a picture of these beautiful mountains out west, and Kenseth tweets, family ski trip. Hope you're enjoying it, Matt.
I don't know if we ever fully appreciated his sense of humor when he was here full-time with us.
Mike, a great opportunity for especially the younger drivers to learn what this package means in the field with it. Eric Jones just telling his team, we are going to have to take a big swing at the handling part of my car, we are not going to be able to race 500 miles. And by the way, speaking of streaks, Glenn Wood, the owner of the 21, for 71 consecutive years has driven from Stewart, Virginia, down to Speed Weeks. His wife Bernice a little under the weather. Nothing serious, but he's decided to stay home. All good streaks.
Glenn Wood had never missed a Daytona Speed Weeks. Not since before this track was built.
When I think of Southern gentlemen, I think of Lynn and Leonard Wood. Two absolute Southern gentlemen.
Saw Leonard in the media center today. Yep, he said, you make a lot of your own luck here.
There he is.
There's the Hall of Famer and winning Daytona 500 crew chief.
What do you think,
several times
Lenny?
over. Paul Menard is trying to get the Wood brothers their 100th victory this season as he steps into the 21.
He's wheeling it. He's doing a heck of a job here tonight.
Yeah, I like what he's doing.
Now, right in front of the Wood brothers 21 and Paul Menard is Clint Boyer. Tony Stewart running in fourth.
If you got any calls, let him know. Whenever he's ready, we're stacked up. I'll be patient. I got you. 10-4. Switch stuff here for a minute. Talk to him.
So it's up to Harvick to make the move.
Yeah, I think they're in a great position. I really do. But just like what we heard out of Boyer, you got to be patient. You can't make it too early. You can't make it too late, though, either. It's just picking the perfect time. But it sure is nice to know you've got two Fords behind you are willing to go with you.
All right, we've already picked who. Do you want to pick when?
I think this group right here, they're going to wait till the last lap. These are a bunch of savvy, experienced race car drivers. I don't think they're going to take a chance until it's time to take a chance.
I think once you get inside 3 to go, I think if Harvick feels like he's got a big run, and if something like Kyle Busch doesn't start forming a line on the inside, I think they're going to go within those last couple of laps.
Yeah, I just don't think you can afford to wait until the last lap. I'd like to see him do it with 3 or even 4 to go, Jeff. And I think Harvick has that same idea. He's got his team behind him. What are these guys doing? When will they make that move? I think it has to be before the last lap if you're going to win, if you're not in the first couple of positions.
Yeah, I agree with Michael, because you're going to be ready for it on the last lap. You're going to be able to block or have a better chance of blocking that move. I'd rather surprise them and go a little bit earlier.
I'd rather surprise them and go last lap.
All right, we listened in on the 4 team.
Clint said he'll go with us, but he wants us to be patient as well. I don't know when the right time is, you know. He's up coming out back, we'll have to block it. Yeah, so we'll rides it out. We'll just have to make our move at the end here.
All the great plans can get completely blown out of the water as soon as the next car like Eric Jones or Kyle Busch changes their mind what they want to do.
But you heard about Eric Jones telling the crew chief, we need to change this car. He's not happy with that car. I wonder if the 20's capable of making that move or if it needs to come from somewhere else.
I don't think he's capable of making a really big, bold move. He'll go with what happens on the line. They go low, he stays in his line, and since he's not accomplished, you can see him stepped out on his own. He just doesn't have a confident car right now.
There's 11 car. I'm talking about 3, 4 set back there like there. I think it's going on.
We watched Andy Hamlin do a text for the Daytona 500 here a couple of years ago. When Andy does so well, he anticipates win that car. Harvick is going to make that move, and he's watching here and trying to get down in front of Harvick when they make the move.
Yeah, I think this is the smart guys. They're going to do it when they can't, when you can't retaliate. If you do it to 3 laps, you know that the guy's got a chance to come back.
Andy Hamlin's got really coming out of the trial vault.
And remember, Hamlin has nothing to gain here. Check the flag and a check. He's on the road for 500. All he has to do is keep his car intact.
That might be a tough task here in these closing laps.
We want to get guys out of the wide open. We got a big here. Harvick pretty relaxed.
I don't think Danny Hamlin's the kind of driver that wants to just pull up. He wants to start building momentum, and he wants everybody to know in Daytona that he is the team driver of the GP.
You're kind of caught in a trap. I mean, Hamlin is that second. And you can't
but he thought Chase Elliott, the race leader.
Chase has just be ready for that move. He's wide open up there. His job is to not get too big of a lead. Don't build too much of a gap. Just set keep them close by, but don't let them get a big run. But also be aware and ready when they do that. It's coming. They're going to make us just win. That NASCAR has a huge advantage, I think. He took 4 tires, nobody else did. I think that's really going to go out here at the end of this race.
So Chase Elliott, are you worried about Hamlin or about the full 4?
I'm more worried about Hamlin. I'll tell you why. Because if the 4 of Harvick makes a move, I got a little bit of time to go down there and block that move. If Hamlin makes it, I have very little options to be able to keep him from at least getting, alongside me.
Chase Elliott is trying to win a 5th dual race for the Elliott family. His dad Bill won in 85, 86, 92, and 2000. Of course, Chase won last year. That was 5. This could be 6.
And by the way, he can see clearly now because there's nothing in his way.
It wasn't in the 9 last year, though.
That's right. 3 to go.
You can see, look how they start stacking up. The energy starts building. These cars start getting tighter and closer, and the energy. Look at Hamlin right now. He's backed up to the 4 car. He's going to get a bit of a run here.
Be
now
patient.
He's holding back. He's not ready to do it.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Be patient.
But he's testing it. That's what he's doing. He's testing it. How much can I back up to the 4 car of Kevin Harvick? Can I get the 9 of Chase Elliott to get out there and get a gap and get a big enough run? You know that they're going to try to block you. You've got to build a big enough run where they can't block it.
2 laps to go.
When you got this many good cars, you got one shot, and it better be the right one.
Here comes Harvick. 2 to go.
Harvick to the bottom. The Fords come with him. Elliott to block.
Side by side, you mirror here. That's still not clear. You're clear.
Now, what Elliott has to do is make sure he doesn't get too far up front. He's got to make sure when they stack up behind him, it's going to come from the 21, the 14, then the 4. Make sure that he blocks that move when it comes. But looks to me like Menard's got other ideas.
Comes Menard on the outside. He's got help from the 20 car.
This might actually help Chase Elliott.
That's it. Keep it coming. Keep it coming up the one inside. Driving it tight.
White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Big push coming to the 4 from his teammate Clint Boyer.
Got to have a place to go with it. Got to have a place to go with that run.
Didn't quite have enough. He got to the rear bumper of the 9 of Chase Elliott, but not quite enough.
I think everybody's holding on for dear life right here.
I think they're going to have one more good shot at Chase Elliott.
They got to get there, and they just don't seem to be able to get right up there close enough at this point.
I think Chase stays right where he is. Force them to go around you.
Short way around.
We're going to get a run. Block hard here.
Chase Elliott spotter.
All over him behind you. Pushing him hard.
Out of turn 4. Elliott rules at Daytona. Chase Elliott covers the bottom and beats Kevin Harvick by a car length.
How about Eric Jones? Sneaking in there and getting third.
Good job, fellas.
Amazing.
Good job by Jones. I like that.
What does Bernie know?
Chase has started 3 duels. He's won 2 of them. And he's only the 4th active driver to win the duel more than once. He has never started a Daytona 500 worse than 4th.
Streak's alive.
15th dual win for Rick Hendrick Motorsports. And watch Eric Jones run to the line, taking advantage. So it's Chevy, Ford, Toyota, 1, 2, 3. Watch the number 20.
You got teammates with the 4 and the 14, Boyer and Harvick. They're trying to get a push to win this race. Boyer's very committed to him, and because of that, he's at the jeopardy and vulnerable to the 20 and the 18 getting a run and getting the inside.
20 had a heck of a run coming to the line.
Wow, and Boyer almost turned there, not by touching him, but just by the air moving across the back of Eric Jones' car.
I think there's going to be a lot of work to be done tomorrow to get these cars handling a little bit better.
And really surprised at Hamlin. I mean, he went from running 2nd all the way back to 9th. Hey, boss, good job.
That ties Hendrick Motorsports and RCR for a number of dual wins at 15.
remember, for Denny Hamlin, he had only to win and nothing to lose. He's on the front row for the 500. And Chase Elliott wins. He'll start from row 2.
Chase Elliott here on FS1 celebrating in victory lane. 2 Daytona 500s previously best finished 14th. A pretty good position. In fact, the only time he's won in a Cup car was in the Duel races. 7 second-place finishes in his career at age 22. Takes the Duel after we had a 24-year-old Ryan Blaney winning earlier. And Jamie is in victory lane for the celebration.
And the first time the Camaro ZL1 goes into victory lane, Mr. Rick Hendrick on the radio said, "You are the drafted man." And Chase, before you got in your car, you and your crew chief talked about the decision to set this car up to race, not go for the pole. What kind of a difference did that make for you from handling?
Yeah, our Napa Camaro ZL1 was really fast tonight. Just a big thanks to everybody at HMS, the Hendrick Engine Department. Engine shop does a great job and got a lot of steam tonight. So really proud of Alan and our entire group. Appreciate all our partners, Hooters, Kelly Blue Book, Mountain Dew, Sun Energy, Valvoline, and of course Chevrolet, like I said. So we're excited to get to Sunday. We did this last year, so we got the big one to go on Sunday. That's the main thing.
You led quite a bit. You had a lot of time to think about things. But how much are you thinking about, okay, I can pull up, no, I need to stay back. I need to keep them close so they can't break away and get past?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was kind of trying a bunch of stuff. I didn't really know what to do. This new package is a little different, and the way these cars draft, I think, is a little strange compared to what we've seen in the past. So I don't 100% know that anybody has it figured out. I think that we're all trying to learn and see how, what the best position is to be in and when you want to be there. So we'll go to work on Sunday and try to go get them there.
All right, Chase Elliott looking for his first Cup victory on Sunday. Matt?
Kevin Harvick brings his Ford home in the second position. When you go back and dissect the final 2 or 3 laps, what could you do better looking ahead to the 500?
Well, I knew it was going to take 2 moves there. I knew I had to try to get by Denny before I was going to have a chance to win a race, and we were able to make that move pretty good. And then the 21 and the 14 got side by side over there. Clint got to my bumper, but my car was so loose that I didn't want to pull it really hard to the right because it just felt like it was going to spin out all night. So we definitely have to work on the handling on our Jimmy John's Busch Ford to make it better. But just got to thank everybody from Jimmy John's, Busch Ford, Mobile One, Outback Hunt Brothers, Morton Buildings, and everybody from Textron for everything they do, and everybody at Stewart Hospital got a fast car.
Vince?
Well, with Clint Boyer, who finished 4th, and just as Kevin was saying, you guys were trying to get it choreographed, but it just didn't work out. From your seat, what did you guys need?
Well, the thing that's hard to sell or show is just how big a handful the cars are. You know, I mean, you're kind of protecting your own self. And the other thing is they get runs at weird places. It seems like it's really struggles to push through whatever that is. All of a sudden, right as you're getting in the corner, it will. You'll get a big run on somebody and have to check or lift out of the gas or something, and that's when you see, Chase was doing a good job of capitalizing on that and, got to the lead. And then there at the end, I was just kind of, you're just waiting for Kevin to do something. I was in a good spot to have a safe finish, and if he made a move, maybe that would have opened it up. And he had his hands full too. I mean, we were both protecting pretty good, and then I thought he had a run and to get to the outside, and he just didn't do it. And that move is for Sunday, and we'll make that move and get these Fords in victory lane.
Good luck on Sunday, Clint. Chris?
Thank you. Well, the story of the night, backup cars for Jimmy Johnson and Daytona 500 early favorite Brad Keselowski, and young drivers, 25 and under, winning each of the Duel races. Chase Elliott still looking for that first ever Cup win. Boy, Sunday be the place to get it.
Yeah, and I think Kevin Harvick knew that he couldn't win from 3rd position by waiting to the last lap to make a move, so he jumped with 2 to go, got to the inside, got to 2nd, just didn't have enough steam to get around Chase Elliott. Elliott did a perfect job of putting his car exactly where it needed to be throughout those final few laps, holding off the whole field.
And as he celebrates in victory lane, Daryl, Jeff, and Mike will join us and take a look at the starting grid for Sunday's 60th running of the Daytona 500. We knew that Bowman and Hamlin would be on the front row. Joey Logano starting up front along with Kevin Harvick, who you just talked about in that third row.
What a big night for Darrell Wallace Jr. Yeah. Bubba just did a great job. He was able to fight his way to the front.
Yeah, a couple of kids there in that second row. I mean, I like Blaney and I like Chase. I mean, they look strong tonight.
Are we excited or apprehensive about Sunday?
Well, after hearing what Clint Boyer's talking about the way these cars are driving, and it's going to be a day race on Sunday, so they're not going to have as much grip.
Keyword, debrief. Got to debrief.
A lot of work will go on through those race cars, Darrell. You know that. Daniel Suarez spins around, still gets a decent finish in his duel.
Martin Truex Jr., our defending champion of the Monster Energy Cup Series, starting in row 12.
You can see Danica Patrick did a great job of maneuvering through that crash on the back straightaway. Saved the really only card that she has in Daytona. She'll start back in the pack, though.
Brad Keselowski back as well, although having a good speed week. Jimmy Johnson, and there is Rick Hendrick with Bill Elliott.
It's got to feel good for Bill to see his son do so well behind the wheel of that 9 car.
Yeah, and in the 9, Chase, look, he gives me some racing advice, but he likes mostly just being my dad.
Yeah, and you know what I love? He loves being in that 9 car. It's history. He knows what a famous number his father made that. He wants to continue the tradition.
And the early odds I mentioned, Keselowski, Chase Elliott 8-1, Denny Hamlin 9-1. Those were early favorites. Those could be adjusted after the performances in the dual races that you witnessed here. Friday, the trucks, you saw the schedule. And in Duel 1, it was Ryan Blaney in the 12 car. Chase Elliott, the 9, winning Duel 2 for our entire crew. Sunday, Daytona 500, 60th running of the Great American Race, the pre-race show. Join us early on Fox. You'll see these guys running faster than us.